Oh, exciting! Blah blah blah.
Super cool.
Oh no.
Oh no, that was me.
Yep. We got to start off the show with some kind of glitch, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be one of us. Welcome to the Full 42. In this episode, as titled, we're going to be talking about the Falcon and Winter Soldier. What else are we going to be talking about, Mike?
I have a really kick-ass guessing game thing that I made for you. Then I think we're going to go into the awards ranking system for games.
Yeah. Talk about some board game awards, what's going on.
This is too bright.
And then I've also got in here, I don't think I even mentioned it, but just talk about things we're watching in case people are looking for new things to watch.
Yeah, I saw you put things to stay away from as one of the, and that could just be.
No, I reworded it. Now it's just, what are we watching? And, I tried to be less negative.
Perfect.
Because I did watch a movie that a lot of people seem to really like, and I'm just like,
Okay.
So I'll mention it.
Okay, interesting. Does it having to do? Is it like John Wick adjacent? Because I've seen a lot of stuff about that.
Oh, really? No. No. This is. I think it came out like earlier this year, maybe, or maybe last year, late last year.
Okay, that'll be fun.
Yeah, for me anyway. Just remind everybody, please like, subscribe, all that mess. Trying to get those thumbs ups. So why don't we jump right into it? Falcon and the Winter Soldier. First of all, warning, obviously, we're about to talk about the entire season, mostly the last episode. So if you've seen everything, you're cool. If you haven't, go watch that first. No reason for us to spoil it. We're not going to be as entertaining as last episode. So go watch that. So your overall thoughts?
I loved every minute of it. Maybe there was 5 minutes that were kind of like, all right, but for the most part, it was just amazing. We can go right to the end, but it had one of those. You want to talk about a Luke Skywalker moment?
Oh, you talking about where he's like dressing down the politician?
That was great. I think I reacted more to the end where it said Captain America and the Winter Soldier. I thought that was it was so perfect.
Yeah. That's nice. That was pretty cool. And it was really neat to see people calling him Captain America too. Mm-hmm. The first time someone said it, I was just like, I don't know, that feels weird. But then someone called him Cap, and I was like, oh, that kind of,
Yeah, after he brought the truck back up, the guy said a Cap or something.
Yeah, it started feeling right, like real quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, that's just because you're used to one person playing them over the other. But yeah, it made me think of something. The whole series is like this, but it made me think that even further back, Marvel has been doing the thing that sci-fi used to do, which is they're touching on very important subjects in the entertainment field and making them kind of relevant things to talk about, but in a way that is easy to assimilate. So like Star Trek back in the 60s was talking about race and all that stuff, and of course Star Trek doesn't really do that anymore. People who watch the newest Star Treks are great and all, but it's not like they're pushing the envelope on social stuff. But
it's more subtle, I think, right? Like Star Wars does with the Clone Wars and the different.
That's true. The Clone Wars does do a lot of cool stuff like that. But I think now, especially after this is it just a mini series? Are they going to come back, or because I keep calling it a series, but I don't know if they're going to have a season 2. They should make a movie. I don't know. They should keep going, whatever it is.
There's rumblings of a season 2. Feige hasn't necessarily said they're focused on it. They focused on one. They wanted to do the best one they could, but they do have plans, and they also released more rumblings about Cap 4 is in the works now.
Oh, well, that's fine. If that's going to be the movie, if they're just going to take this and go into the movie, awesome. Happy with it.
But I like if they bounce back. I think Marvel's doing a really amazing thing with the way that, these shows are movie quality, right? It doesn't look like you're watching a TV show. You could cut out the weeks in between and just put these, like, it's a 6-hour movie, and it doesn't feel like a 6-hour movie, but the quality, the graphics, the writing, everything about it is what you'd expect from a Marvel movie. And if they can bounce back and forth between phases and epic movies and come into this like weekly little adrenaline rush of, oh, I get to see Sam again, oh, I get to see Bucky again, and then you go right back to, oh my God, they're on the big screen. I think that's really going to be a good equation of things to come, especially if they start branching out into like the Dark Avengers. Maybe they're going to reboot X-Men, so who knows what they're going to do there. And then you have like an X-Force show, and I mean that bounce, that ping pong back and forth would be epic.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you're right. It's just like, it feels like a movie, except it's only half a movie, so you want more at the end of each episode, right?
Oh, yeah.
Not that you don't want more at the end of a 3-hour Marvel movie, but still. Yeah, I love the idea that they're going to do series and jump back into movies. I hope they do that more with Star Wars. I hope that I know that they're building more studios like they did The Mandalorian in.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to be able to make it so that they can do these movies even faster, right? Or shows even faster, and movies probably. I bet you they're going to start using them for movies.
Well, especially if you can create a scene that's cross. I want to say cross curricular, but cross title, right? If you could get, because there were rumors that Ewan McGregor was in costume on the set of The Mandalorian, but I mean, you can create sets in The Mandalorian that tie into the Obi series because of Tatooine and the sand. Like, you can really make that happen. So it's like a dual use card in games, right? If you can use a set for 2 different purposes, I mean, why wouldn't you?
Right. Well, I know Disney said that they were building like 3 more studios like that in different parts of the world. So, they're going to utilize those.
Awesome.
And utilize them well. Yeah. So I know they didn't use them for this show, or at least I don't think they did. That's the thing about those sets, is you have no idea if they're real or not, right?
Yeah, watching those like extras on DVDs or Blu-rays, and you see like how they do the characters with the dots, then they do the green screen, then they layer in the trees, then they layer in the buildings. Like, see, like, wow, that looked real, and it really, none of it was real. Like, it was just the 2 characters, not even like with WandaVision. I don't know how much of that you watch, but all the scenes with Vision where he wasn't even, like, it looked like he had stuff on his face, but he really didn't. It was all dots and CGI, and it looked like it was flawless. Right.
Yeah, I know. I was really surprised it wasn't makeup.
Mm-hmm.
I just figured it was makeup.
Yep.
And it's just, he's put dots on his face. That's got to be so much better than sitting in a chair for like 4 hours, right?
Sure.
But yeah, the thing with The Mandalorian, the way that they shoot that in that like half dome screen with things going around and stuff, is now actors don't have to just be in a green room with dots on their face saying things. Right now it's like they feel like they're in those environments and get to kind of, when something goes by, they can watch it go by and all that stuff.
Sure.
So it just makes it so much easier for them to make this stuff and make it quicker.
I'm sure it's like being a voice actor too. If we were both voice acting, like I would think of Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, right, doing Woody and Buzz. If they had to do their lines watching the animation or in a studio with just a microphone, I don't know if you'd get, and they're great actors, I don't know if you'd get the same if Tim Allen and Tom Hanks were in the same room, like feeding off each other in those moments. It just creates that realism. And I think the same thing, like with WandaVision, where they're like flying through the air, you can watch them go by. Just even that and the extras, like everything just seems so much more real.
Yeah. I mean, and that's just the making of the stuff as far as like production quality and stuff. That's not even talking about the writing, which we kind of touched on when we first started talking. But man, just like the whole speech that Sam had at the end about who people are and you can't just put labels on them and stuff like that, I was just happily surprised to see that can now be a conversation. Because 18 years ago, it was too soon before you couldn't have conversations like that, and even private conversations and stuff like that without getting riled up. And it's been long enough now to where we can really ask questions like that in an entertainment way, not an entertainment way, but in a set of entertainment, right? Like Marvel and stuff to where really people can talk about it. And that's not even, I guess, I don't know if it's the main focus or not. Obviously, the last 2 or 3 episodes was all about black man becoming Captain America and what that meant. That was amazing. Whoa. I think I got attacked by Ahsoka here.
Ha! Ahsoka's getting you.
Yeah.
Saw a great episode yesterday of Clone Wars. We can talk about it later, though. Yeah, I think the introduction of Isaiah and that whole conversation, and then to the end where he had the statue erected for him, there was a moment in Sam's speech there on the street where he was talking to all these people that made it so real. And I really like him as an actor. I've liked him. Even in Altered Carbon.
Yes.
Right?
I really liked him in that, yeah.
He's got the lines, he's got the delivery, he's got the mannerisms. But that moment where he was just like, it was probably one of the better performances, if not the best performances I've seen him do. It was just stellar from front to back. That entire scene was amazing.
It was great about that speech was that, aside from the content, what was great about the delivery of the speech was that it felt off the cuff, like he was just saying things. Sorry, something popping up. He was just saying the words that were in his head. That's what it felt like, because it's kind of like whenever you don't have a script in front of you, sometimes you talk about a point a little bit more than you actually needed to, or you repeat a point again, but in a different way. And it just made the speech sound so fluid and like emotional. Like you could tell he was on the verge of anger and crying at the same time. I had to get it out, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it was perfect. I don't know how much of it was written or him, or if they even had to do a second shoot of it. I think it was just amazing from front to back. It was like set up like, wow, that's like, he is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it probably helped that I assume that the actor himself feels a lot of that in real life. So
sure. Yeah, they really brought it to the front, right? The Isaiah. I wish they had done more. I really wish there was. Maybe there's stuff to come. I don't know, but I wish there was more about Isaiah. I thought they were going Luke Cage with it initially, but I'm glad they went the other way.
I'm actually surprised and delighted that, I don't know, like if you notice, but the only thing they ever showed of his ability was he picked up a planter while talking to Sam. And it was this huge thing, and he just picks it up with no problem and sets it down. And he was like talking, and halfway of him carrying it, I was just like, oh, that looks heavy.
Yeah.
He has no problem doing it. But I'm actually happy that they didn't have him like stop some thugs or do some, like they didn't cheapen his experience by making him just a cool little action bit or anything like that. I was really, I love the whole series. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was. The initially, like they hit you with the action and you were ready for it, and then it kind of jumped into and Bucky with the therapist was great, but then you got to the shrimp boat or the fishing boat, and it started to get really like down home feelings in the show. And they smacked you with all of this action, and you're like, all right, well, WandaVision was this weird trip through stuff we didn't expect. And now we're going to get this like hit of action and then really down home kind of feeling stuff like, all right, like if that's where they're going to go with it. And it was this perfect balance of like Bucky's journey and having to get at the end there where he's telling the guy's, I assume, grandfather that he was the reason for it, and crossing off those lists and whatever. And then Sam trying to get the community together to help out and call those favors from the old days with the mom and dad. Like it was, and then you get the Wakandan suit for Sam, and he come and through the helicopter, and like it had this perfect, and then the real life stuff that was happening in it, and the fake stuff that was going on. Like it was just a great balance throughout the entire show.
I had to put Katya's thing up here. I agree. The way they started off with Bucky's like obvious kind of anger at Sam, and it took like a few episodes for him to finally say it. Why'd you give up the shield? And that he blames him for the other guy, all that stuff, and not understanding why he didn't take it, and then finally coming like to understand his point of view, why he didn't do it. And yeah, it's just really
even a moment where he said, if he was wrong about you, then he was wrong about me.
Yes.
Like, oh man,
that dug in right there. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you could even him. I think a side story. He needs to be Luke. Like whatever they're doing in the Boba series or Mandalorian 3, or they're gonna bring it to the big screen, and like Ahsoka's gonna have whatever they do. They need to have Sebastian Stan play Luke. You put blonde hair on him. He's got the facial features. Like he would do justice to that.
I think they should do Shadows of the Empire as a movie. It's for people that don't know, that it's the story that goes in between Empire and Return of the Jedi. The best Star Wars book I ever read. Timothy Zahn, is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I have it upstairs.
Yeah. I have it somewhere too. But yeah, that story is amazing. And if they redid it and recast them, basically, yeah, he'd be great.
Oh, sure. It would be pretty spot on. I wouldn't want to see Chewbacca the way they portrayed him in the figure. He looked a little too. It was just weird to see Chewie that way, but that would be nice.
Well, let's get back on the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah, Sebastian Stan. I mean, his delivery, the humor that he brings to the character was just. I mean, him and Sam played so well together.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is we rewatched, Winter Soldier and Civil War and all that stuff, and even in Civil War, he's like, "Can you move your chair up, please?" While he's in the backseat of the car, he's like, "Nope." Like they have that kind of buddy thing, right? It's just great that
they brought it back in the show too. He said, "You're not going to move your seat up, are you?"
Yeah.
It was great. It was great, and that's. I mean, we expect that, right? The level of detail that they put into these things, whether it's movie or now TV, it's now expected. They're so thoughtful and so planned out in what they're doing. Like it's just. Like that little, yep, I remember that. I remember the seat thing. That was funny.
Well, you know what it is? Well, it's a ton of things, right? But one of the things it is that these characters come from comic books that have all this history, right? Mm-hmm. And so the minute they pop on board, they can say something that even if you don't know there's a history, you quickly understand, okay, there's something going on and there's a reason why they say this and this to each other. And it really feels like these are three-dimensional characters because they have that history, right?
Right.
It's kind of like, like if you watched the Quentin Tarantino movies where they have people talking about stuff that means nothing, mm-hmm. Where he writes that conversation in there and it makes him feel real. And you go, oh, okay, now I know he likes this kind of hamburger. That mm-hmm. means nothing to the story, but for whatever reason, it gives a little history, a little something to it, Yeah. And these characters just come to them with just decades of history to them. And they're really good at making them feel like those characters.
Sure. Especially, I mean, sometimes the uniforms or the outfits are a little weird. They were spot on with Sam's. That with the white up to here, like that whole thing was just.
This whole series made the outfits of U.S. Agent mm-hmm. and of his just look like the comic book, right? Yep. Before that, they look similar. Captain America's always kind of looked pretty similar, but before that. If you made it look like the comic book, it looked too cheesy or whatever. But man, this looked good.
Yeah, yeah, they did a phenomenal job. I mean, I guess Bucky is a little not on par with the comic books, right? Back when we meet him,
yeah, right. Yeah. So, the crazy thing about these Marvel shows, like you said, because they're like movies. You get that quality all the way through, mm-hmm. and then now that it's over, the 6-hour movie, I guess, is over. It makes me feel like I kind of want to watch it all the way through again, just one like I want to take a Saturday and just sit down and, like I used to do with Star Wars almost, and just watch 6 hours. But I wonder if it would feel like a 6 hour movie, or if it would just feel like I'm watching a series for that long. Because here's the thing with a movie, they don't have to, but I know that they have kind of like a formulaic, like you can't have like 10 pages before you get no action or something like that, right?
Right.
But with series, the flow and the feeling, like I don't think you would have had the whole shrimp boat side story at all if it was in a movie. Even a 6 hour movie, that probably would have been like, we don't need this for the overall story and stuff, right? So a series is just so nice to be able to pack in all that extra information we just want to gobble up as fans, right?
Here's a question. At what point did you realize that the power broker was Carter?
It was the episode where they went to the shipping containers.
Okay.
You remember that one?
That's I picked up on that too.
That's where you thought it too?
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, it was because she like did all this ass kicking, and I was like, okay, yeah, she's a super agent from S.H.I.E.L.D. Of course she knows that. And then she turns the corner and there's a girl waiting for her in a car, and she's talking to someone on her phone. She gets in a car. I was like, yeah, that doesn't look like you're on the run by yourself. And then suddenly she's getting them tickets into the best places. I was like, yeah, okay, you're the power broker.
Yeah.
You can't go that long without introducing who it is before it's someone and didn't know, kind of thing. So I'm pretty sure everybody just figured it out. So I'm glad they didn't make it too big of a deal, as a reveal. That's the only thing in the last episode that I kind of wish they had just not even made it even that much of a big of a deal. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather her just kind of blend into it, like, oh yeah, I'm the power broker, as she walked by or something, like, because it was so obvious. I feel that she was a power broker. Like they just put too many clues too early on about it, and I don't know.
So if you redo that scene with Batroc and Cassie without Carter and have them do a thing, and then the tag with Carter getting a full pardon and then walking out of the courthouse saying, hey, get him on the phone, like that would have been enough?
No. What I mean is, like, even the scene where Carly, is it Carly?
Carly.
Well, yeah, Carly calls her power broker or something like that. It kind of felt like they wanted to be like dun dun dun, kind of, you know what I mean? And like, oh, it's a surprise, but obviously it wasn't. I'm pretty sure everybody thought the same thing, It wasn't too bad. It wasn't over the top or anything like that. But I kind of felt like I'd wish it was just more, I wish it wasn't in the last episode. I wish it wasn't treated as like a big surprise, because it really wasn't.
Yeah.
And also, I guess they could have really tried to make it a surprise, put someone else in that position, but really they were working for, all that stuff. I'm glad they didn't really do it, though, because, that really wasn't the focus of this series, and that didn't need to be.
Yep. So, I think if you take that out, there's a wicked shadow over here.
Is there?
It just looks like there's a big shadow.
Looks fine to me.
High quality movie sets here. If they removed her from that scene, just left her out of it and put in something else, right? Whether it was Sam or Bucky fighting or whatever happened in that scene, take her out. And then we see her, she's looking over the pit with all the stuff, right? And we don't see her. Then she has that full pardon scene where she says, hey, get him on the phone. We're going to have somebody for everybody. Like, that would be the mic drop. Like, oh, it's her. And then that would have been the whole, right. We know up until that point, but I feel like that little scene where she gets shot and she shoots. That's
what I'm saying. That I think they kind of designed it to be like that. And then they were like, everybody's already kind of guessing, it's a little obvious. Let's just put it softly in there where she's talking to Carly or something.
Yeah.
I could see it either way, but it would have felt kind of cheap if it was that obvious and they tried to make it like what's a big surprise? And everybody was like, yeah, we already know this.
Sure.
Kind of thing. I can't wait for basically Sam to, and Winter Soldier to Bucky to find out, and then have that, like, you carry the Carter name.
Yep.
What are you doing?
Yep.
You can't be a villain.
Yep.
Like, you're ruining that name. And I want to hear her talk. Like, I imagine that she's like, oh no, that they betrayed her as well as me with their whatever they do, and all that stuff. So
yeah,
I really love villains that have a reasoning to be the villain. So I can already kind of feel her reasoning. She's touched on it already, right?
Yeah, sure.
And that's another reason why I like the whole Carly thing. I've heard people say that they weren't that invested in her as a villain. And I think some of that might have been because they rushed real quick into who they were. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of their plight, because you really just hear them talking about them and encampments and how bad it was and stuff, and of course we all know that would be bad and stuff, sure, but it would have been good maybe even at the beginning to see that kind of life that they had, just so you have a little more what's the word, empathy for where she came from.
Yep. Or a 10-minute flashback right beginning of the episode. You kind of do like this little black and white thing of her remembering, or a nightmare of whatever, and you wake up in a modern day. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like I needed that in X-Men, the first X-Men movie, the Magneto origin story where he's a kid being taken away by Nazis, and I needed that kind of human element to where later on when he's like, I've seen this all before, you're like, oh man, I feel I know where he's coming from with that point of view.
Right.
So I just kind of wanted that little scene basically to kind of know where her point of view is coming from. Okay. It says, yeah, I agree. She was not 100% a villain. And it's like every time there was a choice for her to do evil or whatever, you could see a struggle. Like there was times where she didn't want to. She even was like, I didn't mean to kill that person. Like after she's killed several people that she meant to that were innocent, you could still see her struggling with, I'm a good person, but I have to do this kind of stuff. It just feels so real. It feels like a real human being doing what they feel they have to do in order to set things right.
I think the end where she was trying to fight Sam and Sam wasn't fighting back, and every time she punched, she was getting angrier and angrier. Fight back, and you felt that like she just hit harder every time. It was really cool.
Yeah, there was a little bit of because that shield is supposed to absorb all shock, right? So no matter how hard it hits, it's supposed to. That's the whole thing of vibranium, is it like absorbs that shock. And she would hit him and he would fall back. And I was thinking, it's not exactly how that shield works, but I understand what they're doing. They want to show her strength and anger behind each blow and all that. So it was forgivable.
I didn't think the shield did that. I knew T'Challa's suit did that. It absorbed the energy and then it would just release. But I didn't think the shield did, because there's plenty of times like in Civil War where Cap's getting punched and he's getting knocked back. And
yeah, so vibranium, at least from my understanding, how they explained it in there, was that it absorbs the shock, right? So that's why he can fall off a building and land on the shield and not be as bad off as if he just fell on the ground. That's why he would do it, that's why that shield's so awesome, basically. Like he could get hit by Thanos since he went tumbling. It doesn't absorb 100% of shock, apparently, but he's just
showing how strong Carly is.
Right. And that's why
moment where she was punching and punching and punching, and then Sam had to dig the wings into the ground.
Yeah, that was a cool move. By the way, question: are those wings vibranium now?
I would think so.
And it's Wakanda. Well, you know how protective they are, but you know about their vibranium. But I bet you they are. And
I
he
would
did
think
even
so.
use them along with the shield to protect. That was just cool.
Oh yeah, when the helicopter came down. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, no, but that's a favor from Bucky, right? So Bucky reached out and said, and Bucky's arm does that, so I'm sure
That's true.
it's got to be. It's got to be.
Bucky, I guess Bucky's arm is vibranium, huh?
Oh yeah.
Because I don't think it was in Winter Soldier, was it?
No.
They actually broke it a little bit, I believe.
Yeah, it's the White Wolf one. It was the one they gave him when he was in Wakanda. Yeah.
The one where they could just go boop, 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 and it falls off.
Probably one of the best scenes in the entire series was the look on his face when his arm just fell on the floor.
He was like, hey.
Oh, so good. Did you know they could do that? Nope.
Nope.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully there's a 2. If not, I mean, they can do whatever they want. Everything. Loki in a month or a month and a half. I mean, that's going to be great.
What's in a month and a half?
Loki.
Oh, yes. Just the trailer from that looks amazing, right?
I hope they really pick up. I'm sure they'll do a little dance, but I hope they pick up where he's in the mouth guard. He's got the Tesseract, and he goes through that portal, and then
I still don't know how that works. So
yeah,
because Captain America had to go back in time to put it back.
Mm-hmm.
So how did Loki get away? You know what I'm saying?
I still think around the fact that Carter, Sharon Carter, is not Cap's grandkid. If Cap went back and lived the life with Peggy,
she's the niece.
Cap's niece?
Yeah. Sharon Carter? Well, it might be by marriage, but she's Peggy Carter's niece.
Oh, it's a niece, not the grandkid.
Yeah, because at the funeral she calls her Aunt Peggy.
Okay.
Or Marjorie or Margaret or something like that. But yeah, she calls her aunt. So that's her niece. So could be by marriage that it's on. I mean, it's still, come on.
I thought it was grandkid, and I was like, well, if Cap goes back and lives the life, that means Sharon Carter is Cap's grandkid now, which the time she was there during Civil War. So how does that whole timeline? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess what they could do is if Cap goes back the minute that Loki disappears with the Tesseract and just kind of throws it out there like it fell out of the case, and they grab it, put it back in the case, and carry on, then cool. But that means there's 2 Tesseracts going on, right?
I would think so.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I can't wrap my head around that whole thing.
He actually has to replace the Tesseract twice. Because once Loki took off with it, they said, oh, no, we have to go even further back into whenever, the whole thing was a shield. And they went back there and took it from Tony met his dad, all that stuff.
He only has to replace it once because that whole thing that they screwed up wouldn't have happened, right? Because they didn't go back and screw it up. So if Cap goes back and plants them where they're supposed to be, then the timeline is going to be fine, where they won't have to go back and mess it up.
No. So the first place they went to was where Loki grabbed the Tesseract, right?
Right. And then they were back to Tony's father.
Yeah, then they went back there. So when Cap comes back to replace the Tesseract, we're going a little bit off the farm, but same universe. When Cap comes back to replace the Tesseract, does he replace it at the army base so that S.H.I.E.L.D. can have it all these years? He'd have to, right?
He'd have to.
But then who replaces it after Loki took it?
I think by going back and setting the timeline straight, that second, that's 2.0 version doesn't happen.
Why?
I don't know.
It would.
It helps me see the second one doesn't happen.
I don't see that. Maybe
they wouldn't be there to screw it up. Have Tony and Bruce go back to get it, and then they screw it up, which forces them to go back one more time. But if they fix it in the first place, then they don't have to go back the second time or fix it in the second edition. I don't know.
I don't know. I need the ancient one to explain it to me.
Yeah, I can't figure it out. It all makes sense when she's trying to explain it to Bruce. But now that Cap goes back and replaces them, he's also replacing the second stones because Thanos destroyed the first set of stones.
Right. Well, yeah, and he's also replacing the Soul Stone, which is weird. Would he have seen Natasha's body when he went back for that? Would he have met Red Skull? You know?
Yeah.
That's a lot of weird stuff that happened.
Well,
and
we don't
how would he even get there?
Body, do we?
How would he even get there? The time machine, I guess it can put you in different places.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I don't know either. I really don't. I don't.
There's some weird stuff. I mean, I get it with like some of the stuff is pretty easy, right? The time, in fact,
I don't think any of it's easy.
The time stone's easy. You just show back up on that rooftop and go, here you go, thanks. You know, give it back to the ancient one.
Yeah, I guess.
So that's fine. But yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, I can't figure it out because if you go back and replace them, doesn't mean Thanos can get them. Like, because Thanos is still out there. If you're going back in time, Thanos is now still alive.
Yeah, that's the point. He was able to get him and do the snap because they couldn't undo the snap. Why couldn't they undo the snap?
Maybe this is for next episode.
Yeah, it might have to be. Otherwise, this is going to be another 3-hour episode, and I don't want to do that. Well, I do, but all right. So, I put this up a minute ago, but I agree. Loki's fun because he is. You never know which side of that he will jump onto, right? Mm-hmm. And the only sad thing for me is that the Loki that we're going to be seeing in this series is the Loki right after Avengers, the first Avengers, and not the Loki that went through like the death of his mother and the getting back to friendship with his brother, a little bit of friendship, all that stuff. Like the good Loki, basically, good Loki, right? The one that kind of tried to kill Thanos and sacrificed himself, all that stuff. So we're going to get the evil Loki from Marvel Universe again. He's going to have to rewind that personality a bit. So it'll be fun to see if he goes good again, or he could go more evil depending on his experience. I don't know.
I would expect it.
At least for a time, right?
Sure. But you're right. We're not going to get future Loki. We're going to get like Kathy was saying about the dancing on the line. Even when he's the god of mischief, so he's got to dance that line. And even at the end, when he does sacrifice himself, he's still playing the part of the trickster.
Right.
He just doesn't give a shit.
Right. So, yeah, I can't wait for the Loki one though. So far they're two.
I know we're not even on the rails anymore. But May 4th is the Bad Batch.
Right.
We'll have that, and then we'll have Loki.
And where are you in Clone Wars right now?
End of 5.
Okay. May 5th. All right. Well, hurry up and watch more.
I've seen the episodes where these guys are coming from.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That was like season 2-ish. There's a group of them. They went through the trial.
Keep watching.
Oh. Okay.
I'm kind of, I know. I've skipped, by the way, a little fun. I just got my Bo-Katan figure.
Oh, very cool.
Really looks like her too. But I've skipped getting the Bad Batch guys, and now I'm kind of regretting it.
You can still get them.
I can, but they get more expensive if you don't get them right away.
Of course.
Ventress.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she just came out.
Yeah, she came back again. to help with Ahsoka yesterday.
Yeah, made her more interesting.
Yeah, sure did.
All right, so we're going to jump on into our best guesses. This is something we like to do. Can you believe that we have known each other less than a year, I guess, really? It's only been November, right?
Yeah, I mean, I reached out to you for one of the QSCon Tuesdays. That's really where we met.
Yeah, I guess it's 6 months.
Yeah.
Feels longer. Feels like a lot longer.
It sure does. The weekend it can't go slow enough. I don't want Monday to come.
So, one of the things we like to do is make a guess about each other. It's a way of us getting to know each other. And so I've made a guess today, and I have a little visual, of course, because I like to use visuals now that we have the ability to do so.
I do have to say, Stream Duck is pretty damn good.
Yeah, I have enjoyed. Yeah, it's not Stream Duck, it's StreamYard.
It will always be Stream.
They have a duck for their logo. Yeah, so it's weird.
Until they start sponsoring us, I'm going to call it Stream Duck.
Fair enough.
Because then I can't call it Stream Duck when I actually have to call it Stream whatever it really is. So
the problem is you have to
call it Stream Mallard. You want me to call it Stream Mallard?
No.
Okay, Stream Duck it is.
The problem is I have to type it into the address bar, and every time you say it, it makes me type in Stream Duck instead of StreamYard. So you just get a link from me, but yeah.
I hope it auto does like Stream Duck for you. When you start typing Stream, it just comes up Stream Duck. That's great.
Just wipe my whole computer, start over.
Oh, I love it.
All right, so my guess for you here, let me share this.
This should be good.
I'm actually not sure because halfway through this, I realized you might not know some of these things.
Cool.
Or at least be familiar with them that much. So it's just kind of a shot in the dark. I am trying to guess, out of these 5 options, what is your favorite movie soundtrack?
Ooh.
So, and I picked 5 options that are just, ones I love, but you may not like half of them. Who knows?
Like I would put on track 1, play it right through.
Yeah, if you want to look at it that way. I'll tell you one thing. I took out any musicals or movies about a band or a singer because it's a little cheaty.
Okay.
It's like I could have put the Doors on there, and if you love the Doors, then it's basically the best of the Doors as the soundtrack. So I didn't.
Right, Bohemian Rhapsody. I get it. Okay.
Right. Same thing. Which, yeah, I want to go off of that. All right. So
I just watched that. It was the last weekend, I think, for the first time.
Did you? Mm-hmm. Talk about great acting. So here is your first choice. So Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
I also have up here, if you want to know like some of the songs that are in there, there's just he's got ridiculous music in here, but Son of a Preacher Man, and then Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon, stuff like that, right? But he's also got just silly things like Jungle Boogie. And then what I love is that he has like the little dialogue bits in between all those. So it's got like their little Royal with cheese dialogue and stuff.
About cheeseburger, yeah.
So it's fun. So that's number 1. Number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Really, you're going all out with this. Like,
yeah. I told you I got visuals. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay, is that volume 1 or volume 2?
It is volume 1. I actually think volume 2 is better than volume 1.
Okay.
But I wanted some competition here. Otherwise, volume 2 would just blow everybody away. But, you still got Hooked on a Feeling, the Ooga Shaka, all that stuff,
Every time I hear that song, I still think of that Dancing Baby.
Dancing Baby.
Oh, come on, man. Am I dating myself on this one?
When I hear the song, I think of Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, sure. I mean, absolutely, and rightfully so. But yeah, back in the 90s, that song was connected with this digital dancing baby. You've never seen it?
No.
Oh, my dear God. All right. We'll look that up later.
All right. Next one, The Matrix.
Okay.
A lot of good stuff on there, like Du Hast from Rammstein, Dragula from Rob Zombie, Bad Blood from Ministry. If you like if you like good music, it's
harder stuff. Sure.
I had to throw it in there, and I had to use him. Dazed and Confused.
That's a good one.
I mean, there's a lot of good stuff on here. Actually, didn't know Fox on the Run is on there. Same as Guardians of the Galaxy. Look at that. It also has, same as Guardians of the Galaxy, Cherry Bomb.
Yep.
So 2 of these. But Stranglehold, Slow Ride, Rock and Roll, Hoochie Coo. Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. And then finally, this is kind of a out there kind of thing, but Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. New kind of music and stuff for me, but I could just turn this on and listen to the whole thing while working. It's great. So I'm going to guess the easy one, that Guardians of the Galaxy is your pick.
Yeah, so these are 5 really good choices. Oh man, that's a tough one. It's I gotta go with Guardians. If I had to pick one right now to put on, it would be Guardians, just because the genre, the time period that the music is coming from. However, watching a movie, I think Spider-Verse nails it. I mean, you got Chris Pratt and the dancing and the fun. It really comes out in the movie, but the whole soundtrack through Spider-Verse is just spot on.
Yeah, it felt like in Spider-Verse, it felt like they showed them the movie and had them put music to it, right? Or that they had the music already and animated everything to it.
Yep.
It really felt like it was just, part of the movie. I think Guardians gets as close to a musical for Marvel as you can get, right? I mean, seriously, you have people singing the song and dancing. Well, you have one idiot
dance off, bro,
singing the song, and everybody else is looking at him like an idiot. But the
way that they did Guardians cinematically, adding that soundtrack to stuff you can connect to, really influenced Ragnarok, right? Because look how different Thor 3 is from 1 and 2. Like 1 and 2, it's Kenneth Branagh, very Shakespearean, like very into that kind of that realm that Thor was, and then the Dark World, whatever.
Right, okay. Whatever.
But man, Guardian came out and hit so hard, where they were like, "All right, here's Thor. Here's what we're gonna do to Thor," and then Ragnarok was just a completely different feel because Guardians was so successful in how they bridged the cinematics with the movie. It was just, or the music. It was just amazing.
Yeah, I know the Immigrant Song was on there, and awesome use of it. I need to check out the rest of the soundtrack, see what else is on there.
You should.
But anyway, starting this led me on a glorious Spotify trip that was just fun. So
I'm surprised you put Forrest Gump on there. Really? Forrest Gump's it's one of the best.
It does actually, yeah. When you said that, the first thing that popped in my head is the little feather, whatever that tune is. My brother used to play it on piano all the time. So even that little thing is fun. But you're right. They had Fortunate Son by CCR on there. A lot of good music, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's the first one that pops in my head. But yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that one. I mean, there's tons of great movies soundtracks and stuff, but sometimes just going to a movie soundtrack and listening to it, you don't have to do the make your own list kind of thing. Like people, basically directors and I guess directors are the one that pick music. I know James Gunn picked the music for Guardians. I don't know and I know Tarantino picks the music for Pulp Fiction. I don't know if all of them do that.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they all do. I think they might split that up. Fun fact about Spotify, there's a playlist made by, and I don't know the person, and it's not me. There's a Spotify playlist for Batman the Animated Series board game.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. It's got all the music from the animated series, so when you're playing the board game, you can pop on that soundtrack and listen.
I'll look that up. I assume they have the animated theme song and stuff in there too, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was pretty neat. It was kind of surreal to see that somebody made a playlist for that.
That's I never really think to put on music
Mhm.
while playing games and stuff. The first time I ever thought of it was what was it? They had a frog in their name. They made the I've got it right around here actually. They made the ones where they use photographs of models and put them through Photoshop in all their artwork. They did the Indiana Jones type one. Wow, my brain isn't working for it. It's okay. You don't need it to work for a show, right?
I have a horrible image right now of frogs and Indiana Jones.
Leaping Frog. Leaping Frog. Do you remember those guys? I haven't seen anything from them in a little while. They did
Flying Frog?
Flying Frog. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Frog Productions. They did the Yep.
That. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry if you guys listen to this.
Yeah, they did Shadows of Brimstone.
There you go. They did do Brimstone.
Was it Shadows of Brimstone? Yeah. Then they did the outer space one.
Yep. Invasion or something like that. My brother has that one. I have the zombie one as one of their first big ones.
Last Night on Earth.
Last Night on Earth. That's it. Yep.
Great game.
Hey, finally we're saying things.
I didn't know what you're talking about. Frogs and music. I'm like, wait, frogs and music. I don't understand. The frog whip? I don't get it.
Well, the reason why I brought it up is because they would put CDs with their games that had music and stuff, and I never even thought about it till I saw that.
There's an app. I know when we play Scythe, my friend Bobby puts on, I don't know what he uses, but he plays music that's suggested when you're playing Scythe. But there's an app that you put in the game you're playing, and it populates with music based on the game. Yeah, if anyone is listening and knows it, please put it in the comment. I don't remember what it was called. I wish Bobby was watching. But yeah, there's an app that actually you can put in what you're playing, and it gives you a musical suggestion.
It looks like I was looking at comments. Looks like Katya guessed the same thing.
Yeah, she nailed it.
It's a pretty. I mean, it's kind of a step above than the other ones. That's why I couldn't put 2, because I believe 2 is actually better than 1 in the soundtrack, and so I was like, wow, that's a definite win if I did that. So
that was a good one.
Thanks. So now it's you said you had a guess for me.
Oh yeah, I got something good.
I'm worried about this. You said it was good.
No, I'm really happy with this. I wish my next one is going to be a little bit more fine-tuned, I think, with a little more budget behind it, a little more punch. But this one's pretty good. I do need to
share your screen.
Yeah, but I'm going to set it up first before I do it.
Oh, okay, great.
All right, so I put together 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 of Geek Culture's vehicles.
Ooh, okay.
I put them in a bracket format, quick bracket format.
Nice.
And I put them up against each other in different brackets. Based on what I put here, I came up with what I think will be your number 1.
Ooh, this is exciting. All right, for me anyway.
Okay. This is pretty cool. All right. So if I could...
Yeah. You want to share something?
Can I pick what I share?
I've got 2... I think you have 2 browsers up in StreamYard, by the way.
I do?
Yeah, don't worry about it though. But I can put you in here twice if I want.
It might be my other computer, which I am not using.
Anybody want double mic?
Please don't. No one needs to see that.
All right. There you go.
All right. So you can see that?
Yeah. Okay. Ooh. Oh, you got some animation in there.
No, just the first one, and I was trying to get rid of it in the beginning. I don't know why it's even there, but none of the others have that. The next
Batwing
version
versus
2.0
X.
will have it. Huh?
So I'm supposed to pick from here.
You're picking. So yeah, round one, it's the Batwing versus the X-Wing. And
Are you guessing just the final one, or are you guessing? Are you? I'm guessing Katya is laughing at your second mic. Or are you guessing for each one of these?
I had to guess at each one in order to come up with the top one, right?
Fair enough. All right.
So you can look at this any way you want. A vehicle you would want to own, fly, drive. If you could pick one to have in your garage, which one is stronger than the other, which has more to offer. However you want to put yourself into this situation. Round one is the Batwing versus the X-Wing.
All right. I'm gonna go with own. Like it gets to be mine. Oh man, why'd you have to start with this?
It gets no easier. Maybe a little easier, but really not easier.
This is really rough because, I mean, X-Wing gets me into space, which is awesome. And it has a hyperdrive, which means I can go all kinds of places, right? It's really hard to beat. But the Batwing is so cool. I mean, granted, if I roll up in an X-Wing, that's going to be cool, right? But,
sure.
Oh, man.
You got to remember, an X-Wing does come with an R2 unit, so... Or an astromech, maybe not an R2.
But. If it comes with an R2 unit, then I'm definitely going X-Wing.
You have to have an R2 unit. How do you not?
Yeah, okay, yeah. Katya is correct. I like that Katya is going to try to guess what I'm going to pick for each one. I'll wait for her if she does that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you're putting an R2 unit with it, then... Wait. Do I get a Bat Cave if I have the Batwing?
That's not part of round one. You'd have to have some place to put it, but...
Well, I can't just park the Batwing out in front. I guess I could same thing.
Yeah, you're just going to put an X-Wing out in the driveway?
Yeah, because they can't fly it if R2 locks it, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I got to go R2.
I'm sure the Batwing has a pretty stellar security unit, too.
The idea that I can travel in space, although it's just one seater, right?
It is.
Batwing has 2 seats, doesn't it? Well, I guess it depends on the model.
Yeah, well, the 89 one there is not. I don't think it has. I think it's just a one-seater.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to go with X-Wing.
X-Wing it is.
Travel alone.
Cool. So I picked that one.
All right, so you're on track so far.
I am. Let's go to...
So you're saying I can mess you up right away if I just pick the one I think... If I pick wrongly next.
No, not... Well, you could have screwed me up if I picked Batwing to win it.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Right, but each one of them is its own kind of thing.
That means I'm going to have
the best of the West and the best of the East, and they're all going to come together?
That means you're going to match up something against the X-Wing. I'm ready. I can go home with the X-Wing. I'm happy.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. All right, what's next? Lots of animation.
Round 2.
Oh. Wait, okay.
So I'm picking the Aston Martins from the more recent Bond movies. The old Aston Martins, as classic as they are, I'm sure the new ones would have something comparable to Batman's Batmobile. So this was my round 2 matchup.
And you picked that Batmobile too.
Of course I did. Next to the animated series, that's the best Batmobile.
I mean, it's definitely the most stylish, right?
Sure.
But it's also roadworthy, whereas the Christian Bale one was just a tank that like tore up, city blocks as it drove by. I don't know if I can drive on roofs with it, but
depends on where you're living, I guess.
Yeah, and I got to go with the Batmobile on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's the only one, and I actually saw one of the ones that they used in the movie. It was being like they had a big Batman ride at a Astroworld park here whenever we did have a Six Flags here.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's right. But they brought, for like the opening of that ride, they brought one of the Batmobiles that was used, or at least they say it was used, and you could like get around and near it and stuff. You couldn't quite touch it. I tried,
Mm.
But yeah, it just looked cool.
That's cool.
So, definitely Batmobile.
All right, Batmobile. I'm 2 for 2.
Yep. Well, you make them this easy.
It doesn't get easier.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
All right, round 3.
Oh. Oh, okay. You know what's funny is there's a barbecue place near my house here that has a Mystery Machine vehicle, but they changed the words to, I can't remember what they're called, and they don't pay for advertising anyway, so who cares? But I've seen what that looks like kind of basically in real life because it looks really close to it.
We have the Syracuse Nationals here every year, which is a classic car show, biggest one on the East Coast, and there's an Ecto that comes every year. There's a generally
really
Daisy's Jeep, Cooter's tow truck, and the Cop. I'm losing it. The Ecto is pretty cool to see.
Roscoe P-Train.
Yeah, but yeah, Roscoe. Yep.
Yeah, man, I got to go with the Ecto. And Katia's right.
So you'd go with Ecto, huh?
Yep, got to go with Ecto.
Interesting. All right, I picked the Mystery Machine on that one.
Did you?
I did.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, first of all, I got Sirens. Give me Sirens to play with.
Sure.
Come on. But also, yeah, I don't know. I love both of these things, but I think Ghostbusters wins out just a little bit more.
Okay, fair enough. So Ecto takes it over the Mystery Machine.
I'm going to guess that you didn't end up thinking the Mystery Machine would be the number one, though.
No, absolutely not. Okay. Some of these were softball pitches. Kind of like this next one is not very easy.
She's beating you.
Oh yeah, she got 3. Yeah, 3 for 3. Good job. All right, round 4. You ready?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I want them both, but I mean, I got it. I mean, it's pretty. I'm gonna let. I want Katia to throw out her guess, but I think it's pretty obvious which one to go with this, right?
Sure. You already have an X-wing in your garage, so.
That's true, and actually, the X-wing is faster than the Enterprise. Wait. Am I getting to say that I have the other things I've already said yes to?
I mean, they're gonna come back at you. So.
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think Katia's going to lose on this one. I got to go with Enterprise.
Even though you already picked the X-wing, you wouldn't want the carrier to have the X-wing on?
Well, look, first of all, the Enterprise is going to win in a battle. It seems just, I don't know, the carrier is too military for me. Whereas the Enterprise, I mean, even that version of the Enterprise, it's got a lot of luxury to it. Did you know they had a bowling alley in that Enterprise?
I didn't. I do know they have shields, which...
Well, shields are nice, yeah.
Yeah.
And they went back in time in it. It's a little bit of a time machine going on there.
Yeah.
I mean, not on purpose, but...
Sure. I like what Katia just said.
They got transporters. That wins it. I won't have to park it. Stays in orbit, and I can transport up to it. But
that's true.
And which means I get to like teleport me up and then put me into Paris. Instant teleportation. Yeah, I'll take that any day.
Okay. So I had Enterprise.
Okay, so now you and Katia are even.
Yep, 3 for 4. I'm happy with that. All right, you ready? Round 5?
Yep. Oh man, X-wing against DeLorean.
Yep. So you're.
Well, I already got a spaceship, don't I?
You're winner of what you do. And now I've introduced time travel.
Yeah, well, I kind of introduced it last time because I did say you could possibly go back in time with the Enterprise, but it wrecks the ship to do all that. You don't want to do that.
Yep.
Plus, just driving the DeLorean around is fun. Even if you don't go back in time, who doesn't want a DeLorean, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but I'd leave R2. You brought R2 in it. That was a mistake.
Not R2.
Yeah, you said
the X-Wing would come with an astromech. You're not guaranteed R2. You're not even guaranteed QT. Like, it could be anybody. It could be a dump droid.
okay, but it'd be a droid that I'd get to become friends and buddies with, right?
Maybe. But then on the other side, you have a Mr. Coffee. And maybe it
Mr.
comes
Coffee
with
doesn't have personality. Man, that's pretty rough. If we're just talking vehicles, not R2 involved, I'd pick the DeLorean. I'm sure I'd mess up history real fast. Real fast. Like, first time out. In more ways than one. But if I have my own R2 unit, I gotta keep the X-Wing.
I'm not sure if the X-Wing comes with the R2 unit.
So now you're kind of backpedaling on the R2 unit because you want me to do vehicles, right?
I'm assuming it does because you have to have an astromech to...
Just tell me I get to keep the R2 unit and I can put them in the DeLorean.
I'm not signing a contract that says you get an R2 unit. I don't know if they come with one. I'm saying X-Wing, DeLorean.
I just feel bad I'm leaving my buddy.
You could take him with you.
That's what I just said. So, like, say that I can take my R2 with me and not pick the X-Wing. He can hang out with me in the living room, and I would pick the DeLorean.
The DeLorean's a 2-seater, so...
Yeah, he can sit next to me.
Sure.
All right. If I can do that, I don't have the guilt of leaving my astromech droid behind. So, yeah, I'll take DeLorean. And Katya did X-Wing.
If the R2 unit is in, then it's X-Wing.
Yeah.
This is your call. You got to tell me.
Well, I have to know which one it is. If you're saying I lose the R2 unit if I pick the DeLorean, then I pick X-Wing.
I'm not even telling you that the R2 unit is coming with the X-Wing.
I thought you already said that. All right. You know what? It's just about vehicles. Let's leave R2 out of it. He's going to stay with me in my living room. And I'm going to pick the DeLorean.
DeLorean. Final answer.
Yes.
Hey.
I'm getting booed over here.
Well, it is a tough choice.
That was a tough one, yeah.
Yeah.
Although it did help that I have the Enterprise now.
That's why I put these.
Yeah, I can still go into space, so that's
okay. All right,
but
so DeLorean takes it.
Yep.
So I have 4.
Man, you did a lot of prep work for this.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I'm going to put myself up against Katya, and Katya is at 3. So.
And you have 4? Okay.
And I have 4. Ready for round 6?
Yep. Batmobile against Kit. See, now you're tugging on those buddy strings again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Kit could be a buddy. Do I have to have Hasselhoff's hair?
I mean, that would be just a stellar option.
Can I have? No, I'm kidding. You don't want to see me with hair. It's hideous. Let's see. Oh, Batmobile. So technology-wise, I think Kit actually is better off than that Batmobile. The only thing I think the Batmobile had was the little grappler that shot off to the side to let him take sharp corners.
Mm-hmm.
What else did that Batmobile? Oh, he had gas pellets or something around it. I can't remember what else he did with it. It's been a while since I saw it.
It had super speed. It had the Gatling guns in the front. It was armored. I mean, it had a lot of bells and whistles. I
remember the guns, and I was like, Batman doesn't use guns, and nobody really got shot up with it. He only used it to like clear stuff in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Katya's got a vote. I'm going to stick with Batmobile.
Batmobile.
It's just more stylish.
Okay. Yep. I'm in. I'm still good.
And I got my R2 in the living room, so it's okay.
Sure. That's what you got.
You picked that one too?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, she's right. Batmobile looks way cooler.
Yeah, that was kind of a softball. I mean, Kit's good.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that generation of car, but you put that as a second gen Camaro that can do that stuff, and
Yeah.
I might actually toss the Batmobile.
I agree. The 80s and 90s car wise for me were like, I mean, 90s were just vanilla, but yeah. And I saw a few of these episodes growing up and stuff. It just wasn't one of the big shows that I watched or anything, so I don't have any nostalgia kind of pulling me towards it.
Fair enough. All right, round 7.
Yep. Oh, but I could cut down trees. Oh man, and I could do the. Now I did watch a lot of Speed Racer growing up, but I watched a lot of Ghostbusters growing up too. All right, man, that's a cool drawing, by the way. I hadn't seen that before. They got the little showing where stuff goes in there.
Yep.
Did you watch any Speed Racer growing up?
A couple episodes, not a lot.
I watched a lot of them. I really got hooked into the Who Was Racer X guy and all that stuff. Let's see, we got Katya's choice. If I go for utilitarian, definitely Mach 5. If I just want to look cool to a bunch of geeks, probably more the Ghostbusters. I don't know if I trust myself going that fast in the Mach 5, but it'll be fine, right? There's probably some little button to stop me from getting in bad wrecks.
I'm sure there's one of those.
Yeah. Oh man, I gotta go Mach 5.
Mach 5, huh?
I'm gonna go Mach 5.
All right.
Kind of hurts to do it too. Did you pick that one?
I sure did.
Oh wow.
I sure did. This is where the Mystery Machine bowed out for me. So.
Oh, had you picked the Mystery Machine over the Ghostbusters, right?
I did, yeah. That's the only one I've missed so far. All right. So you ready for round 8?
How many rounds are
there? Technically 11.
Oh, cool.
And this is the last round where you'll see a new vehicle.
Okay.
And then they all go against each other in the final 4.
I got Katya's approval.
For the Mach 5, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yep. Oh, what? Oh, no.
Yep.
Enterprise versus Millennium Falcon.
You didn't see that one coming? I was going to let you just ride with the X-Wing and not throw the Falcon in there?
I was trying not to. Well, I thought, you hit the Star Wars button and moved on to other. Oh, man. All right. So, one issue is that the Millennium Falcon needs a little work and constant maintenance, right?
This could be Lando's Falcon with the little escape pod in the front. This doesn't have to be Han's version.
That's a little bit better because it's not quite as messed up by Han's half-witted modifications. Yeah. She's trying to get me to go Enterprise here. She's right. The teleporter is amazing on the Enterprise. I don't know if that can be beat. And if perhaps there was a universe out there that I knew I could fly to and take on a Han Solo kind of life, yeah, I might go towards this Millennium Falcon. But for all I know, it's just all empty rocks out there. And who am I impressing? So comfort-wise, technology-wise, man, you're causing real pain here.
I told you I was really happy with this one.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to go Enterprise.
Enterprise it is.
That hurts, man. That hurts. You're hurting me right now.
All right.
Did you think I'd pick Enterprise?
Absolutely, I did.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Good job.
Over the Falcon? Absolutely.
But there's so much. I mean, honestly, I grew up with Star Trek too, so there's a lot of nostalgia there. But yeah,
remember one of our first guesses, our first episodes, our guesses was like superpowers, and your thing was teleportation.
That's true.
And I know you're a Star Trek fan, so I tried to put these in a certain kind of like, oh my god, really? Like this is the thing. So,
by the way, after you're done watching Clone Wars and Rebels, I gotta like get you into more of a Star Trek fan.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen.
I gotta put. I know how to do it. I think I know how to pull you in that you'll enjoy.
Orville.
Orville is not Star Trek. It's pretty close.
The Orville is as good as I've ever experienced in a Star Trek. The reboot I actually enjoy. I like Chris Pine. I like Zach. Like they do a really good job, and I enjoy them just for the movies. I'm not a huge Trekkie. I'm not going like Captain Kirk and William Shatner is awesome. Leonard Nimoy is fantastic. But I think Orville is probably like that's my favorite Star Trek-ish. I know that's blasphemy, but I enjoy it.
That's fine. Let me at least recommend a curriculum that I would purposely structure it for what I believe you would enjoy. So if you don't enjoy it, just go, it wasn't working for me, and you leave.
Okay, fair enough.
If it's structured to actually be like, oh, that's better than I thought it was. Oh, that's good, and really like you start to like it, at least let me try that.
Okay, I'm up for that.
Cool. Can't ask for more. All right, so I picked Enterprise.
So Enterprise. All right, so going into the final four. What happened? Oh,
I know what these are.
Hold on, I was circling the wrong shit in the beginning. I already circled the. I've already circled the next round, which is not real. Okay. It is 7-6. Me. All right, so you ready for round 9?
Yeah, let me just message Katya here so we can work together against you. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, seriously.
All right,
you ready?
Yep. Yeah. I started going in my head here what's coming up.
Now notice I haven't stopped sharing my screen. Like this is preset. Like I knew.
So you already knew it was getting here.
I haven't altered. Yep.
Wow.
I'm kind of upset the verses isn't in the center. I need to re-edit that, but
I see Vicky Vale in the background there. Do I get Vicky Vale with the Batmobile?
The Batmobile is a one-seater. Sorry.
No, it was 2-seater now. Now that I remember, he had her in there.
In this one?
Uh-huh. Yep. In fact, that's the scene where he's taking her to the car and putting her in it. He just took her from Joker and he said, where does he get those wonderful toys? Man, it's been years since I've seen that. That's crazy.
I can't
even remember the last book I read.
I've just added a 12th round, and it's Vicky Vale versus R2-D2.
R2-D2. Sorry.
Co-pilot.
Got to pick the buddy. All right. Man, I don't want to say goodbye to the Batmobile, but yeah. I mean, time travel is just too hard to beat. Right? Got to go with the DeLorean. Katya agrees.
All right, DeLorean it is.
Is that what you also picked?
Sure is.
Yeah. It's yeah. I mean, just time travel is just too hard to pass up.
Sure.
If these were realistic cars, like someone built one and built the other, and of course it doesn't time travel, I'd probably still go Batmobile, but you're talking full powers here, so.
Yep. Geek vehicles, not real vehicles. Because this would be what? A DeLorean up against a Corvette?
Right. Yeah, basically.
Yep. Are you ready for round 10?
Yep. I mean, nope, but yeah. Oh, this is fairly easy. I mean, I'm going to go Enterprise on this one. Sure. Sorry, I didn't even wait for a Katya battle. I don't think anybody would pick the Mach 5 over the Enterprise. I mean, come on.
It's the way it's set up.
Space travel, teleportation. Yeah. Phasers. lasers. I mean, phasers, shields. Yeah, replicators. Depending on this is the Constitution class, so they didn't quite have replicators back then, but that's okay.
Sure. As far as I know, this is the USS Enterprise.
That's true. Right. Constitution class.
Sure. If you say so.
Sorry. Yeah.
All right. So you ready?
Yep. This is the final one.
This is it.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I should have asked this, but do I get a crew with the Enterprise?
If you own the Enterprise, you probably have to staff it, right? Like,
if I own the Enterprise, I'm pretty sure I could staff it after one convention.
Yeah, I'm sure you could, but I mean, if you own it, it's up to you. If you want to just rock it yourself, great.
Well, that's the thing is one person can't fly the Enterprise,
right?
It's not a Millennium Falcon. You need a crew, probably about 60 people at least, and that wouldn't be a comfortable life. You'd need,
bringing it to the shop when something has to get repaired. I'm sure that can't be easy either.
I can't remember how many people this model took. I think it was maybe about 100, maybe 80, something around there. Yeah. The thing is there you go. I already got my first officer.
There you go.
The thing is not only does the Enterprise have all the cool stuff we already talked about, it's got a med bay too. Oh, if I can utilize those. I haven't seen a doctor in 10 years. If I just don't see how I can pick. Time travel's great. DeLorean's a cool car. I just don't see how I can pick it over the Enterprise. Plus, it gets your whole community living with you on this great ship. Yeah, I got to pick the Enterprise.
Enterprise over DeLorean, huh?
Yep.
Wow.
Is that what you thought?
Nope.
Oh, look at that. Wow. I mean, time travel
was going to take it for you. I knew that teleportation was a thing, but I figured time travel would have had it.
Time travel, since that can't guarantee that would go well. Time travel would be a really amazing thing. The problem is I could not restrain myself from playing with it too much, and I'd mess everything up. Like, I know myself. I'd do too many things that would be just fun with it, and I would wreck all of history. So, and it depends on which Back to the Future we're talking as to how time travel works. So, because in Back to the Future 1, there's only one timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the Future 2, there's branches that go, they changed how it works just to write the story they wanted. So,
okay.
Look at that. You ended up tying.
We did.
Although I still think she should get a little bit more since you didn't pick the end one correctly.
It's true. It's true.
That's the one that matters.
Because where did I screwed up with the Mystery Machine over the Ecto, and Katia missed.
She picked. I don't remember now.
The X-wing over the DeLorean.
Oh, yeah.
So I had both in the final though. So I would have had the tiebreaker. Katia wouldn't have had the DeLorean in the final. She would have brought the X-wing in, and I had both in the final. So my bracket would have been stronger, longer.
Yeah, I'm just trying to defend my first officer.
Thanks for playing, Katia. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was great. That was fun. I like those. I like those kind of scenarios that make you. I want them both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really fun for me to put them together. The Speed Racer, I knew you liked Speed Racer, so trying to put that in, I knew I couldn't have put it on the left side of my bracket because then it would have had to go. maybe putting it up against a Batmobile would have been better, and I could have like replaced Kit with Speed Racer and then done something else on this side.
Yeah, I think Speed Racer against Kit, Speed Racer would win. Speed Racer against a Mystery Machine, Speed Racer would win. But you put it up against, what did you put it up against?
Well, it had a first round bye. So the play-in was Mystery Machine and Ecto won.
Yeah.
So they went in, and either Mystery Machine or Ecto won. I knew Speed Racer was going to take it. But if I put Speed Racer over instead of Kit, then it would have been Batmobile Speed Racer round 2.
Yeah, I mean,
that would have been Batmobile.
There's something, the thing that really put it over the edge for me for the Enterprise was the fact that I wouldn't be alone, that I'd have a crew, friends and stuff, you know, the whole group of people to hang out with and stuff. And, you know, after a year of isolation, maybe that played a part in it. Plus, you know, being able to voyage around the stars and stuff is just pretty cool.
Makes sense. I didn't think of that. I was thinking I wanted it to be teleportation and time travel. That's where my end game was.
Now, if you take all that out and you just go like superpower, teleportation, or time travel, oof, that is a rough one. Which one would you go with?
I think teleportation. Because you can be anywhere at any time, like just a blink and you're there. Whereas time travel, like you said, God, I'd screw some shit up.
So here's a question. So obviously you can enrich yourself with either power, right? Teleportation, you could pop into a bank vault and be like, ha ha ha, money, right? Or with time travel, you go back in time and you can invent Google or invest in Google or something.
You become
However, doing that, or invent Ticket to Ride, however you want to make your monies, doing that, you are stealing money from someone in both ways, right? If I buy up shares of Apple before it's a big deal, I'm holding shares that someone else should have had. They just don't know I stole from them.
Yeah, I think that would be the difference, right? If you pop into a bank and you take money from the bank, you're taking money from someone who knows that money exists. If you go back and invent Google 10 years prior, 15 years prior, I mean, I don't know, whatever. I don't think you'd be taking it from somebody. Like the future would be altered, but maybe they'd go on and invent something else.
But right? I am taking it from someone. Like I'm taking their idea and stealing it in the worst possible way to where they don't even know it got stolen from them. Like, isn't that even worse?
Morally?
Yeah. That's what I mean.
I would say, yeah.
Like, if I went back in time and I came up with Ticket to Ride, right? Got it published right whenever he's just starting to like make his old prototype and stuff. He's like, oh, someone made it almost exactly. That's weird, kind of thing. Isn't that like wrong? Didn't I just steal from him?
Well, you'd probably make it years before Alan is working on his prototype and like, oh, I just missed it. You'd probably go back a little bit farther, right?
Well, certain things you have to do at the right time, right? Things that come along have to be right moment, right time, right. You know, if Ticket to Ride came out in the 90s, maybe no one would even publish it then because they didn't think that kind of thing would work. Same thing with Google. Like I can't come out with that in the 80s. There's no internet. I have to wait till at least 98 for the technology to happen, right? So, but even if he didn't know, even if he hadn't gotten the idea for it just yet, like it's a year before he gets the idea, I am robbing that person of what his life becomes because he made Ticket to Ride.
Yeah, and then I would hate you because then I wouldn't have just had the opportunity to play games with him this past Saturday. So,
oh, look at you throwing names around.
You're the one that brought up Ticket to Ride. I'm just saying, I'd have to hate you. I wouldn't even know that I would have to hate you because you would have been the Ticket to Ride guy, and I might not have been playing games this weekend with the Ticket to Ride guy.
That's true because I'd probably still be living in Texas.
Would you?
No.
Yeah. I didn't think so. You'd be on your Enterprise up in space.
That's true. Yes. All right. Well, we could go on forever. Oh, I didn't answer. I would pick, for the sake of the world, I would pick teleportation. Again,
Right.
if I get time travel, I'm messing things up.
Mhm.
I won't be able to stop myself. I know myself. I can't go back in time and not mess with things. That's the point.
I mean, it depends on your moral character, right? If you're going back and you're messing with things that need to be messed with, then that's a different story. If you're going back to win the lotto or invent Google or create a Tesla before somebody else does, and that's, I guess, a little different.
Well, okay, but even like righting wrongs, just because I right one wrong doesn't mean it doesn't create another wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And you're making decisions for people's lives at that point, right?
Sure.
That's a lot to put on your shoulders. I don't know. It opens up so many moral issues going back in time that I would just rather teleport around and, go visit London today, go to all the conventions, go,
Sure.
I would just rather have fun than have all of that on my shoulders. Because the minute you have the ability to time travel, do you go kill Hitler? What do you do?
Sure.
Why don't you have to? Your brain just gets like filled with all of these. What is now my responsibility, right?
Same thing becoming a superhero, right?
Well, it's the same kind of thing, like where Superman in the Superman movies that shall not be named. Decides to like throw all the nukes into the sun. Like, oh, I'm not going to let these humans, have any choice in the matter of killing themselves anymore. So he just does all that. And that's kind of like what would happen, some kind of God complex. Let's say I'll go back in time and I kill Hitler. Yay, no more Nazis, right? But then something else happened. Stalin killed more people than Hitler did, so I should probably take him out too. And then you go take out Bin Laden, and then it really starts to become like, who am I to say each person? Because after a certain amount of people, then you're starting to take out people that might be heroes to some people and villains to other, and then it's just my point of view that gets to decide all this stuff. And how many times do I keep going back to perfect what the world should be? That seems villainous right there. There's a line that I don't think I would see once I cross it.
So then what's the difference between Thanos taking out half the population and then the Avengers going back and changing that? Like all of a sudden half the population now comes back. That's kind of what they talked about in the Winter Soldier too, right? Like,
yeah.
Now these people don't have a place to live and they were living there before and now they don't. Like, same thing.
Yeah. And that's one of the great things that Marvel does that I haven't seen done before in these kind of movies is they talk about, for many films, many series and stuff, what happens when you drop an entire city onto the world and destroy it and kill all these people. Mm-hmm. What happens whenever a bomb goes off near a building, even though you were trying to stop it? Like all of these things, there's repercussions, catastrophes that happen and stuff, and you start to become responsible for the things that happen, good or bad.
Butterfly effect.
Yeah. So, it can easily get into this moral situation of, do I take control of people's destinies, or do I, just let things play out as they do? And then if you're just sitting on all this power and not helping people, it's just a lot easier to teleport. I mean, and I would use that for good in times where I would know to use it. If I saw a house fire and people stuck there, boop, boop, real easy. No problem. No moral dilemma there, right?
Maybe. I mean, what if the house fire was like your local drug dealer?
Well, I mean, again, that's going towards the what life do I save kind of thing.
Sure.
So you have to decide for yourself. Am I a person that would try to save a life And if you do, I think you have to kind of say, like, if you draw a line at whose life it is that you save, you start to villainize yourself, if that's a word. At least in some perspectives.
Sure.
I mean, even Batman would like save the villain as he falls, you know, that kind of thing. Because once you cross that line, you start moving it more and more to fit your purposes, and you become a villain. So, so nice, deep conversation out of here.
I like it.
All right, so our next thing that we're going to be talking about, moving right along into the hour and a half that I said would be a shorter episode, examining board game awards. So I saw that the Golden Geek Awards came up. Are we sharing my screen or yours?
We can do mine.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead and pop it up here. So for those of you who don't know, boardgamegeek.com, they have awards every year. I think they had them for last year. And you get to...
This is the 15th year they've done it.
Oh, cool. And people get to vote on games for all kinds of categories. I know that Ali was the guy that runs this. I know that he was trying to figure out which categories should stay and should go and things like that. But here we go. So these are the categories that you can pick from. Do you know? So how do we know what games got put into these categories? Like, for instance, the 2-player games there, that's kind of easy, right? I mean, they're definitely 2-player games. I assume max 2-player games, right?
I would assume it's 2-player only, right? I think that's because any 2 to 4 player, even 1 to 4 player, is still playable at 2. I think these are. Well, I mean, I have Aqualin. It's strictly 2-player.
You don't think some of these might be solo or 2-player?
I don't think any of them are solo. Could be they have a solo category.
I don't think that would necessarily knock them out of this category if they did, but
like a 1 or 2 player.
Yeah. Like maybe. What was Daryl's game, the Batman Dark Knight one? That's 1 or 2 now, right? So I would imagine I should see it here next year.
I was nominated, yeah. I would assume so.
So how do those get picked in there? Was there a nomination process I missed this year?
I think it's done by time travel.
I should have picked that one.
Yep.
Well, it's just because I have a few gripes about what's in what categories, which I know everybody does. If you go and watch, see people talk about it, everybody has. But I have a few gripes. I don't have any on the 2-player one. I haven't played any of these. Have you played any of these?
I played 2 of them, yeah. I think what happens early in the process is nominations are up, right? So you get all those emails from all those Kickstarters you forgot about that says, hey, please go to BGG and nominate us for 2-player game of the year or whatever game of the year, whatever it is. And then they compile all these nominations, and I assume there's some sort of cutoff where like the top 10 get in, and then you vote on them.
Well, I know not all of these have 10 in there. Some of them have smaller amounts, maybe a little bit more.
Sure. So whatever their cutoff is, right? This one's got 11, I think. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So this one's got 11. I doubt they say the top 11 get in. But whatever the requirement is, whenever its release date is, up until whatever the release cutoff date is. But they start by getting people to nominate, right? There are certain games I'm sure Aldi and the team put up there. And then if you have some that are like, oh, I'd like to nominate this, and then that gets a big head of steam, then maybe that gets put into this as well. But I don't know for sure.
All right. Which ones did you play on this, by the way?
Aqualin and Glasgow.
Okay. And your thoughts?
They're both good.
Both good?
Yeah. I think Aqualin, I guess I draw the line on well, even game of the year, kind of like even spiel kind of nominations. Like Aqualin really feels like, and I don't know the name of the game, but I want to say it begins with a Q, where you're trying to put the same colors or the same shapes in a row.
Oh,
not Quixit.
uh,
Quirkle.
Yeah. Quirkle. Yep.
Quirkle.
I have it in the other room, so I couldn't look behind me. Yeah.
It definitely has a Quirkle vibe to it.
Okay.
Is it game of the year? 2-player game of the year? I don't know. I don't know how you put up Undaunted North Africa and the Field of Cloth and Gold up against Stellar. Like, I don't know where the line is for these.
So this is kind of my problem with, and nothing on BGG. BGG is awesome, but with these kind of things, because I've seen it in other ones where you get to vote on them, is I often only have played 2-3 of them. On this list, none of them for me, just because I don't usually get 2-player games, which is weird because I play a lot of 2-player versions of games with Aaron here. So when you have 10 things and somebody says, hey, which of these 10 things are your favorite, and rank them, and you've only seen 3, of course those 3 get ranked and the others don't, right?
Sure.
Is that fair to the others?
Of course. It's the same thing with the ranking system, right? Like, I had somebody put they ranked Batman at a ridiculous low grade, and their comment to it was about a different game. It wasn't even about the animated series game that Richard and I co-designed. It was about a different game. So how does that then knock us? And I'm sure the more votes or the more comments and the more ratings you get, then all of those start to whittle down. But like, case in point, Cosmic Colonies from Floodgate has a 1 ranking from somebody just because they will rank Scott Alm's games 1s. They hate them. They don't like them. Whatever. I don't know if Scott kicked this person's puppy when they were young. I don't know what happened. But if you look at this person and you look at their rankings, all of Scott Alm's games, he ranks, or this, whoever they are, ranks them a 1.
They've got their crusade, man. Everybody's got to have an enemy, I guess. I don't know.
That's why I did, and this is a total aside, but I just recently, and I guess this kind of goes into our next segment of like, what have we been watching? But I caught up on season 1 and then finished right through season 2 of Tournament of Champions, which is a cooking show, Guy Fieri. It's phenomenal. And it's set up bracket-wise, which kind of where I got the idea for this from. And it's all about these chefs ranked and they're cooking. And they have this thing that changes it up, whatever. The point of it is it's all blind judging. So the judge, when they're done cooking, they go away. The judges come out. They don't know who cooked it. They judge based on whatever in 3 different categories with points for the different categories. And then those 2 come back when the judges go off. And this contestant won over this contestant. So then they move on. And then the next round, the judges don't know who's in it. They don't know who's participating. They don't know who's cooking. It's completely blind. And I love that about that show. Rather than it's like even Chopped, right? You can influence the judges with your story of, hardship and sorrow and everything. And then maybe they're like, well, they could have used more salt and this person could have used more crunch, but man, they got a great story. So I'm going to kind of give them a couple extra points. And I don't know if like what better rating system there is than that. Like, this doesn't work for me.
Well, so, I mean,
that's just me.
Yeah. The rating system is something a little bit separate. It is true that if you get enough votes in there, that 1 or 2 people that are just like, I'm going to rank it a 1 because I don't like the packaging it came in or something, and it has nothing to do. It's going to wash out for the most part. The problem is that those kind of rankings come in early whenever you're doing Kickstarters, and it tanks it hard because a lot of people haven't gotten it, so they haven't ranked it, kind of thing. I wish that you could, as the publisher, decide when rankings could be turned on. Like basically go, we haven't delivered this yet. So this hasn't gone out to the public yet. So no one should be ranking this. So this is off right now. And then the minute you start sending out to retailers or backers or however you're getting a game out, that's when you can go, all right, turn it on.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather see something like that. But because you can't have people moderate all the dumb people. But in this, though, I have kind of a mathematical issue, which is if I go to, because I've done my voting and I don't think it's fair. Go to artwork and presentation. Let's show a little something different here. So, oh, your little pictures aren't showing up. Oh, there they are. Okay, took a minute. So I've seen some of these games and I have played some of these games. And in some of these games, I've only seen the cover of. Trying to look at, so Fort, I haven't seen much more than the cover because I don't have that yet. Want to get it, but Cosmic Frog, never even heard of it before I saw this and I looked into it.
It's on a few different things, isn't it? Isn't it on the 2-player too? Oh, Curious Cargo. Never mind. What is it with frogs today? Is that the new thing? Pirate frog? Maybe pirate frogs in space?
Yeah.
You're watching?
Do what?
Is Peter watching?
No, he's playing tabletop simulator. Steam tells me what he's up to because we're friends.
Pirate frogs in space. It's the next thing.
Yeah, he'll watch later. So I've seen most of these, right? But there are a few here that I just haven't seen just because I haven't gotten to it. They don't deserve a NA or a 0, right? So I don't know if it's just a number that gets collected. Like how many people based Calico as a 1? Okay, then it's on top kind of thing. Or do they do something interesting in a way that's like, I don't know what you do, but if let's say there's 10 games and I've only seen 3, so I vote for 3 of them, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like my vote should only count 30% for that category. Like only 30% of my votage should count. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it is like, I don't know what the workings is behind here. I could probably ask them or something, but it doesn't, I mean, they don't go into, at least I haven't seen that, they don't go into how it gets calculated that deeply, but I don't know. It just, it's kind of feels like the Oscars, like you try to watch the Oscars and there's nothing, like you haven't even heard of these movies anymore.
Sure.
And you're like, I don't know. How about the one I've heard of that looked vaguely interesting? That's the one I hope wins.
Sure.
It just doesn't feel, it feels like you're rewarding distribution more than you are the category.
Yeah, or social media, or the way that the marketing business works for Calico over Cosmic Frogs. Like, if they do a good marketing campaign, like, look, our game is up, we'd really like to win, it would mean a lot for this small company, and everyone just gets on board. Look at that poor guy. I don't even know what's going on with him anymore, but that guy that was streaming, I might have mentioned this before. He said something about, I'll stream as long as people keep donating to whatever. And then people he was streaming for 2 weeks straight. He raised X amount of money that he was donating to charity. Every time it dropped to like 40 hours left, people would donate and knock it back up to like 3 days. Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like, once people get behind it, people get behind it. So if like the Calico company was like, look, we have this, and none of the 9 others had anything, remotely close to Calico's social media team, which I don't believe is true. I think there are plenty others on here that have that. I'm just using them as an example. And all of a sudden, just people get behind it and start voting, then sure, like that's gonna. But it's the same thing with the rating system. There should be, I don't know. There's, I don't know. That's why I don't vote in these things. Because you're right. Like of this group, I own 1, 2, 3, and I've played 0. of the 3 that I own.
Yeah, I own, looks like 2, maybe 3, and I've played them. So, hold on. What's the? Oh no, I own 3 of them and played 2. But yeah, I know. Like, who owns all 10 of these and have played all of them, other than maybe content providers who,
Sure.
that's what they do all day long, is they get games and play, right?
Sure. Opening this up, and I think that's why I was bringing up the Tournament of Champions. Opening this up to people that either paid $15 to support the site, donated 20 Geek Gold in order to get in here to be able to vote. You're opening it up to people. I guess it's like the $5 entrance fee to the bar, right? You're trying to keep some people out and let other people in. But why not have this set up as, and I guess other companies do it, right? There's other reviewers that do their 2020 Game of the Year stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, other reviews that do it this way. I'm in no way like picking on BGG here. It's just a general kind of, do any of these awards really tell you what a good game is? Because it might just be like, yeah, this game got tons of backers who haven't played the game yet, and then they're saying, hey, go vote for us and get us nominated, and then they get nominated, and then even if the game hasn't, well, I assume the game has to be delivered for it to be considered a 2020. At least I'm assuming that.
I would think so, yeah.
I don't know. Well, let me get to a couple of grievances. All right, go to card game.
Just a couple grievances?
Yeah, just a couple.
Why not loading?
Wait for your page. Well, you're streaming and stuff right now. All right. Dune Imperium, not a card game.
It clearly is, Chris.
It has cards.
Then it's a card game.
Now, every game on my shelf is a card game then. What's the point of that category? Dune Imperium is not a card game. It has a board, it has worker placement, it has character cards, it's got meeples, and it has cards, yes. But if there's a game, if the game requires the board to play, which it absolutely does because it's got a worker placement spots on it, then it's a board game. Yeah, grievance done.
Well, then why isn't there a dice game?
That's interesting. I wonder. Well, yeah, because you'd have the same issues. Like, well, they have one die in there for solo players, so it's a dice game. You know, like, where do you draw the line? I would say you draw the line. Whereas if you can take it out and the game still works, and it's not that kind of game. Maybe, right. I don't know. Right. Well, no, because you could take the cards out. And, well, I don't know. I know it's subjective, and to a certain degree, but if Dune Imperium is a card game, then anything's a card game that has cards.
Sure, but it wasn't nominated, right? So only these 10 got nominated as card game?
Yeah, and I don't know how that even gets approved or done, or if there's even checking. Like, Dwellings of Elderville has cards. Could I have nominated it for card game?
Yeah.
It's got tableau building with cards.
Isn't it in here?
Yeah, the Dwellings is only under thematic game.
Oh, is that it?
Which is another. Oh, look, there's Dune Imperium also. By the way, I love Dune Imperium. I'm not trying to pick on it. It's just not a card game. Sorry, to that argument again, Lost Ruins of Arnak is the same thing as Dune Imperium as far as mechanisms go. It's worker placement, uses a board, is a deck builder. Why is Arnak not under a card game? So anyway, so thematic game, another little argument for me. It should have been in Game of the Year. Medium or heavy, maybe medium, heavy, depends on what they mean by that, really.
Yeah.
But should have been in there. I'm sorry. People love this game. It's not just me. It's not just not just for the fact that I do work for the company that made it and I worked on it. but I mean, it's just a very, very well received game. However, a lot of people can't get their hands on it. It's difficult to get. So it makes me feel like it's a distribution thing. Not enough people have it, so not enough people were able to vote for it.
Hmm.
But you know, I and then you go into like innovative.
Mm-hmm.
How do you decide that?
Yep.
Who decides that?
Yeah.
I
think Search for Planet X should. It should be in the talk because that was really cool the way they utilized the app and trying to figure out the deductive pass and play kind of thing. It was really well done.
I haven't played it yet. I bought it, but I don't have it yet. I mean, I have it, but I haven't played it yet.
It's good.
Beyond the Sun is excellent.
I haven't played it.
I don't know about innovative, but it's unique, if that's what they mean by innovative, and the fact that it's mostly a tech tree. But I mean, there's other games with tech trees, right?
And here's your Dune Imperium again.
Yeah, and I gotta disagree with that. I mean, the fact that it came out in like the same couple of months as another game that utilizes almost exactly the same kind of mechanisms. Arnak again.
They didn't forget about it. It's also here.
Okay, you got two of almost the same mechanism games in the innovative category. Well, I mean, yeah, it does feel different. I won't argue that much. And like I said, innovative is very subjective. Extremely subjective. So it's not really you can argue that much about stuff. Unless you put Uno in there, I can't argue too much about it. But how many of these have you played?
In innovative?
Yeah.
Played or owned?
I know you own them all.
No, I don't.
I lost my water.
4, 5. I only own 5. 1, 2, 3 of the 5, or 3 of the whatever's in here. 11, 10.
Yeah. I mean, and this is the problem with all of these awards is the people who haven't gotten to play them yet, kind of thing. So again, it's not a BGG complaint; it's just a awards complaint. I don't know how you do it, how you fix it. I almost kind of just feel like, what if they? I guess it's what they do already. Like, there's already a rating system on BGG, right?
Yep.
So you already see what's top 10. Is that top 10 different from what this is? And if so, then what's happening?
Yeah, I don't think. What do you mean? The top 10 in the innovative category?
No, I mean, like, okay, if you take the top 10 games of the year in here, I guess medium. I don't know. That's the problem, is doing light game of the year, medium game of the year, heavy game of the year is like, how do you decide which is heavy and medium, you know? But anyway, how many of these are in the top hotness or whatever of BGG? I don't know.
I mean, Arnak is the only one showing up on here. Well, it's just above Dune Imperium.
Well, what ends up happening is, like, you know, even the Dice Tower Awards and the well, it doesn't really happen with Spiel, but that's because they're kind of in a different culture than this is all US based, really. What I'm talking about. But anyway, what ends up happening is, like, it's not a lot of surprise. Like when Gloomhaven won a lot of awards, when, you know, it's always the game that everybody knows is going to win, or at least really close to it. And I don't know. It just doesn't seem to serve much of a purpose because they're already that popular. You know what I mean? Like Gloomhaven won. All right. Well, I already have it because everybody's already been talking about it, and everybody's already been talking about how great it is for a year.
Sure.
So good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would like to see the way you change this is you put in like the indie game of the year, right? Or the small publisher game of the year. Like you're not putting up no offense to any of the games that I might mention, but I guess these are all pretty well known, but like putting up anything against a $3 million Kickstarter where they have 50,000 backers when you're a small company that's just trying to like get yourself on a map somewhere, like maybe you split that up.
That would have been really good, actually. That would have been good to see and you could even say that it's the first or let's say second game that publisher has made.
Right.
And if you're beyond the second game, then you're no longer considered in this category.
Well, I don't know. Like Dr. Finn's games, like they've been around for a minute, right? They put out some games, but I wouldn't put them in the same category as the Op or Simon or whatever they want to be called this month. I think they're a little different, right? But like board game tables, the ones that did, I think they did Bites. They did that QE game, which was fantastic.
On tour.
Like I don't know. I think maybe that's missing from this for me. Like I'm not going to vote for them because like Marvel United really needs my vote. Like, but like man, some of these companies that are like trying to like even stay afloat in this shutdown where like there's no conventions, they're not meeting people to try and grow their brand. They have to do it organically, and they're going up against. Where do people go for board games? Board Game Geek, if they know about it, right? And then to get a banner up here, I mean, it could put you under if you don't time it properly. Like that would have been a great place for them to have been like, look, these are some things that maybe you don't know about. Like everyone knows about Marvel United. Come on.
Yeah, it's really hard to. But then you have that line like, who do you decide now is too big? For it. It's kind of like why Kickstarter couldn't kick Queen out and stuff. Like,
so dumb.
At what point do you go, okay, you shouldn't be on this list? You have to have something. That's why I was saying, like, if you produce more than 2 games, then now you're on this list. And if you produce more than 5 games, now you're on, something like that. But
sure.
That way,
it's something that Gen Con does, right? They have the Indie Alley, so there's some kind of line that you have to not cross in order for you to get a booth on that side of the vendor hall.
Right.
What do they do? And why is that not even in this conversation? Like, you got best podcast. All right, fine. But, like, you don't have an indie category? Like, print and play doesn't cut it. Zoomable? You throw Zoomable up there, but you don't have, like, an indie game? Like, how are you going to compete with this is light game of the year, right? These are all companies I know. Like, I've heard of.
Yeah.
And not that indie companies make light games. Like there could be a indie company that just makes a monster out of the box, but
that's what I'm saying is like these really are instead the most distributed and marketed 2-player game, most distributed and marketed artwork and presentation game.
Sure.
So on and so on. It's not necessarily quality, although a lot of these are quality. I'll give them that.
Sure,
but
it's not necessary. Haven's great, Hallertau's great. Like they're all produced really well.
It's not equal opportunity, is all we're saying.
Right.
And
throw an independent company up there.
What?
Throw an independent category up there.
That would have been nice. The problem is that there's no solution to make it equal opportunity that would be perfectly fair.
No, there is a solution. You're missing it.
What's the solution?
That.
Don't vote.
Yep.
That doesn't change anything. That does. All you're doing is just not participating. What you should be doing is what you were saying, which is asking for a category that would feature the people you don't know about or hear about all the time.
But then is it on us to get in in the beginning to start voting for those games that are indie games that aren't on those lists?
I mean,
get 300 of us to go up against 60,000. Like, it's not, that doesn't work.
yeah, I mean, you can still ask for it, talk about it, bring it up, and be involved in it.
Sure. If there's a separate category, different conversation. But if they're not gonna, if this is some predetermined way of doing things, right, and you're asking your fans and you're asking for people that know about your company to go out and support you. Let's say you and I own a company, right, that's Full 42 Publishing, and we have a couple games out there, and we're going to reach out to our email base and say, hey, we have this opportunity on the Game Awards we're nominated, or to get us nominated, and then to take that, hey, we got nominated, go vote for us. All right, we've just hammered you about getting us nominated. Now we're going to hammer you about nominating us. And all 300 of our people that backed our game, right, are going to go up against Marvel United with an infinite number of fans. Like, it doesn't work. Whether it's light game of the year or medium game of the year, or we made a solo only game. Look at the solo onlys, and you're going up against Gloomhaven. Like, it's not, or not, maybe not solo only, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is, and I wish I could remember which one they said, but if you look at Best Podcast, I saw a post on Facebook. It was from one of these podcasts that said, we thank you, our fans, so much for nominating us, but please don't vote for us. We only did one show last year. So that shows you that this isn't about, really the best. It's just fan base. It's all, what have you heard? What games have you played? What,
Mm-hmm.
So, and in some regard, it's kind of like that whole, the market will eventually uplift the best. That's not necessarily true. Some of the best games are ones people don't get to know about, or don't even get published sometimes. But, it's all about marketing and distribution, publishing. It's really, if these were the best published board games, I would be a little less easier about it, because that's really what you're looking at here. You're looking at publishing efforts.
Sure.
For a lot of these,
Yeah.
So
I'd like to see the Venn diagram of the games that are nominated, or the games that get to this part of the contest, and those that are played, supported, reviewed positively on a group like the Dice Tower, right? The Dice Tower has this big conglomerate of people that will just, if you say it's good, I'm going for it, right? Rahdo says it's good, and I adhere to Z, and I adhere to Rahdo's take on games. If Rahdo says it's good, or Z says this is one to check out, man, I'm going to hunt it down because I know I align with them. So I wonder where is that overlap between these games that are getting nominated and these games that are getting reviewed positively on those different platforms.
Yeah.
Right, because even there's a line, right? Because now I need to offer up some kind of sacrifice to get these games onto one of these things in order to get into that realm. And maybe as an independent publisher, I don't have the resources for that, or like, I don't know. It just seems weird.
Well, getting your games reviewed, not previewed, but reviewed. And the difference is preview, you have to pay, review, you don't. Reviewed by some of these bigger, well-known people, you have to already have a famous game. Like, you have to have a game that everybody's talking about for them to go, hey, I'll review that if you want me to, kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. Not all of them are like this, but for the most part, like I have several names in my head that I know it's like that. That I know people have gone like, hey, would you like to try this game? And they'll go, nah, I haven't heard of that. Well, that's because you haven't reviewed it. Dummy, you're part of the people that tell us about
right
stuff. So, and it causes this, like, the minute one of them, because they're all friends and buddies and stuff, the minute one of them goes, "Ooh, you should check this out." I've seen them in conversations outside of it and stuff. They tell their other reviewer friends, "Ooh, you guys got to check this out." And they ask for it, and it just kind of it it snowballs into all of this stuff. But you got to get it into the hands of one of these major players.
Right.
And to do that, you got to have the connections, you got to have the networking, you got to have the funding to get it noticed by them. You can't just be some guy that comes up with a game anymore. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and I can sympathize with well, what have you done? Because there's so many games coming out, and there's so much.
That's true.
You gotta. That's the line, right? So if I'm the reviewer, my line is, well, I need to know what else you've done. So I can at least juxtapose that with, all right, well, this is a game that people will know, so I can at least connect it in some way. Where it's like, Chris made an Uno knockoff, and I don't know that. I'm like, yeah, I'll review it, and then it's like, what am I even gonna? I'm wasting my time at this point. Which I don't know. I guess I understand that, right? That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many games. I understand the approach. The problem is that it creates this kind of elitist. Not elitist, that's not the right word, but it becomes a very steep mountain for the little guy to climb. There's nobody out there, at least that I know of, that is just constantly putting out gems I've never heard of.
Right.
And their reviews. And of course, that's because there aren't people searching for those games you've never heard of. The more popular the game, the more people search for it, the more money they get on their advertising, more viewers they get. It just goes and goes and goes. Mm-hmm. And it's just the mountain becomes steeper and steeper and steeper as you have that. And there's no way to fight that. I don't know how you do it. And I can't blame anybody for wanting to get viewers and stuff.
Sure.
There's a reason why I changed the way we structure our titles on these shows. It used to say episode something something and then some little silly thing. Now I realize I have to put on there what we're actually talking about so people can find us, right? Just minor things like that. You got to play the tricks. Sure. And unfortunately, that means that it makes a steeper mountain for people to climb up to get there. So sure. I don't know if it can be fixed.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the same. You can go into the argument of like Kickstarter being a pre-order service, right? Like, how do you let some of these companies still use that platform as a Kickstarter when Kickstarter is meant to be like some kind of crowdfunding to get something done that you couldn't do on your own? Like, that's the purpose of it. It's not a store. But I've seen Kickstarter campaigns be like pre-order, like literally in the rewards thing, pre-order now, like shipping immediately when campaign ends. No, that's not how it works.
But that's not how it was originally designed to work, but it's how it works now. Yeah.
Right.
There's no such thing as, like, when I first started doing Kickstarter 2012, I think it was, that was the days where you could come up with your own little game and get it published and get it out there. And like, I did all the artwork and stuff myself, and and the design and stuff Aaron and I did, and we got our game out. There's no way I could get that done by myself and get it popular, and because you didn't have to do the kind of stuff that you do now, because either the little guy, let's say Jamie Stegmaier started out like that too, did better and then better and better, upping his game each time he did better, whereas those of us that didn't do quite so well couldn't quite get up to that level. And then bigger companies finally saw what he was doing and go, yeah, we can match that and do a little bit better. He would do better. And then snowball to the little guy still kind of jumping, trying to get to that, so it's not even really possible anymore. Or if it is, it's kind of winning the lottery at this point.
It's a different monster, right? In the beginning, you might have been the only person to launch a Kickstarter on a Tuesday. Now you're trying to figure out, like, reach out to some contacts, trying to figure out which Tuesday are you doing? All right, well, there's only 14 going off this Tuesday. There's 2,700 going off next Tuesday. We should pick this Tuesday.
Yeah, like Peter and I were talking about when we launched, both of us had on the same day launched our sci-fi games, and then there were like 4 or 5 other sci-fi games launched that same day. It's just oversaturation right now, right? So
Yeah.
But anyway, the silver lining in all of that complaint is that we have so many games now to pick from. So it didn't used to be this.
Sure.
You didn't used to have an almost infinite amount of stuff to look into and find, right?
Yeah, because what are we talking about, right? If you go in and you look at all the different categories, minus the duplications, right? If you talk about Dune Imperium and you talk about Arnak and you talk about Jaws of the Lion, how many games in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 6. There's 16 categories. One of them is best podcast. One of them is best board game app. But in the others, how many of them, minus duplications, are actually being are up for an award based on how many throughout 2020 were published? Right? Like there's a small fraction of the games that are up for a nomination or up for an award compared to the number of games that came out in 2020.
Yeah, and you're saying that because of the duplication, right?
Right, like take out Jaws and a Lion, take out Arnak, take out Dune Imperium, right? If you were to go into each of these categories, which I'm not doing, and you were to count each game, not counting duplications, which I'm also not doing, and then you put that number slash how many games were published in 2020, it's such a small fraction of games that are, I mean, I'm sure there's a ton that are nominated.
Yeah.
Whatever the cutoff is to get to this point, there are so many games being published every year, right?
Right. And honestly, most of those games don't deserve to be on these categories. I mean,
sure.
Even if it was 50%, I think you'd still have a large fraction of games that should be on here that aren't on here just because of bad marketing or distribution or publishing,
sure.
But yeah, I wish these awards taught me something. I think that's my main takeaway. And not just these awards, but any of these awards. There's never a time I see these awards where I'm like, oh, I've never heard of that game. Because we've all been talking about it. So it's all popular and it's all just, I look at the medium game of the year category. I've heard of all these games. I will get to some of them. I'm not playing Pandemic Legacy. It's anyway.
But go into expansion. I think this might answer your question. If you go into expansion, right?
I don't have any of these. I didn't get a single expansion this year. Oh no, that's true. That's not true. Okay, I lied. I have two of these.
Lying. Why are you lying?
And I've played them both.
So every one of them I've heard of. Wingspan, obviously. Twilight Imperium, obviously. Through the Ages, great. But what is Obsession? Like, that makes me want to look. If this is an expansion to a game and it's up for best expansion of the year, I hadn't heard of the base game. That's something I want to look at.
That's interesting. I've heard of Obsession. I can't remember what it is. Yeah.
Right? Couldn't I never heard of that one. It's weighted 3.5 out of 5.
I've heard of it. I've seen it before. It was 2018. I've never played it though, but I heard it was good.
Yeah, doesn't even look familiar.
I mean, a lot of games slip by, is what you're saying, right? I mean,
sure, because there's so many, but at least now it's on my radar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hadn't heard of the publisher.
Yeah, and that's the function that I want this to have.
Correct.
Is I want to discover new games based off of this.
Right. You don't need to discover Marvel United.
Yeah, and maybe I should just be looking for that function in another place. Because again, if CMON comes out with a game, all of the reviewers are going to be reviewing it.
Sure. Because
that's what gets them their likes, their all that stuff. Sure. So, why am I only need to watch one of those. Yeah. So, I don't know. Somebody needs to take on the finding the gems videos. And if those do exist, they probably do. Then somebody tell me in the comments. I'll happily go and be part of watching those.
I really think that's why I gravitated towards Z so much, because Z would come out with these obscure, typically not found in the US type games, or either they're out of print or they were out of the country only. And I was like, it was almost like a thrill of a hunt. Like, oh, that one looks really good. Now, where is it? Oh God, I gotta find it.
Yeah.
But they were good, and they were not necessarily mainstream popular. I have to do this because I'm a reviewer type game.
Mm-hmm. I found that Z's Z Garcia's, who we're talking about. I found that Z's taste is a little lighter than mine, but I generally still agree. As far like I'll play it and I'll be like, yeah, I agree, that's good, but I want a little bit heavier, longer games than he does. But yeah, and it's interesting if you go through some of the major reviewers, like how you go, oh, I'm not quite agreeing with that person, but you try to find your happy place or somebody that you agree with. I haven't found anybody that I perfectly agree with, but that's fine. That just means I watch several of them and make my own decisions.
Right. Which you should do anyway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, my favorite reviewers are the ones that end with, here's why I like it, or here's why I'm not crazy about it, but you might like it because it has this, Rado Z does that. I know Tom does it sometimes, so.
Yeah, I've also seen those reviewers get shit on for it too.
For saying that?
Well, like, you're reviewing it. So, like, if you don't like it or you do like it, you're doing it for a reason. But
yeah, as long as they're saying what that reason is. Like if they say, I don't like games, I don't like it when deck builders make you put your new cards in the discard pile.
Sure.
So for that reason, I'm not going to give this a high rating. But if that doesn't bother you, then you might really enjoy this. That kind of thing. That's golden. That's professional kind of reviewing right there.
Yeah. As long as the person watching it takes that for what it is and makes their own decision and doesn't just, oh, I don't like it because they don't like it.
Some people might do that, but there's only so much you can do as a reviewer. I mean, Sure. At least that's giving some reasoning behind it. Some people just go, oh, this game's awful, and throws it, and that's it. You don't know why, and you go, oh, I guess it's awful, and you move on. I'd rather at least be told why they think it's awful. Oh man, I have 3 of these review expansions. Never mind. Totally lying.
Unbelievable. Can't take you anywhere.
I played all 3 of them too.
Nice.
Fine. All right. Are we done harping on the industry that we work in?
Sure.
Yeah. So, the next thing that we have on here is what are we watching? I've just started some new stuff and watched a movie that I like to complain a little bit about.
I would love to hear this.
It's not that harsh of a complaint, honestly, but
you said it was something that people have been talking about, and you don't see why.
Not recently, but they talked about it when it came out.
Okay.
So the movie Tenet.
Oh yeah, let's talk.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you say it that way because you enjoyed it?
It was all right.
All right. Okay. Parts of it were all right. Honestly, I just don't. I watched the movie, and the guy went through 4 different heists and an entire battle at the end. 5 huge major things. And then in a heist, like let's take a heist movie like Ocean's 11, right? They get to know the characters, they talk about things, they figure out their best way of doing it, then they pull it off, and it's great. This was the first 10 minutes. They went, okay, we need to go in here, we need to take this, okay, I'll do this, and and then we'll do this, okay, we got it, and we're gone. I was like, what is going on? Why are you even doing this? I don't understand. And then they went into the next thing. Oh, yeah, things go in reverse. You shoot the thing, bullets come back. Isn't that great? All right, let's move on. And I was like, whoa, back up. I need to know why this is happening and how it works and were the bullets always in there and why are you all just cool about this? And like, I didn't care about the characters. I didn't care about anybody. They're like, here's Michael Caine, isn't he cool? You'll never see him again. It's just it's just rushed. Like, it seemed like it would have been really cool as a series that you could have stretched it out. I mean, it's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
But you could have stretched it out, given me a reason to care about this dude, who is just called the protagonist, by the way. We never get a name.
Yep.
But give me a reason to care about him. Give me a reason to care about the rich lady who doesn't want to give up her rich stuff to get away, or whatever it is, issues. I just don't care about any of these people. And then they were like, the end of the world is coming. Oh, come on. It's done 1,000 times. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't know that it happened anyway. So I didn't have any care about. Also, I guessed right away. Like, here's a little spoiler. I'll put my hand up. If you haven't seen the movie, wait till my hand goes down and keep it in mute. So here's a little spoiler. The part where they go to the vault and then the guy comes out and starts fighting him and is obviously in reverse. I was like, that's definitely him.
Oh, right. Sure.
Like, just immediately, there was no reason not to guess that.
Right.
And so whenever it finally got there, I was like, all right, here's the part where it's him. And it was kind of fun to watch, but it wasn't that big a deal.
Yeah.
I put my hand down. So now you can listen. Spoilers gone, but
there were a couple of those moments. That was one. There was another one in the hallway. There was another one where there was this dividing fence, and there was another car on the other side of the fence. Like, it all.
Yeah.
So I've been told to watch it a second time because I watched it a first time, and I had a conversation with someone who absolutely loves the movie, and he was like, "Yeah, but do you know what's going on?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think so." And he's like, "Do you?" And I was like, "Well, until you said that, I thought I knew what was going on. Now I don't know what the hell's going on." But he said, watch it again. Like, the choice of the sound, how things are quiet and loud and quiet. Like, that's all done on purpose. And like, what?
I mean, I totally agree that production wise and effects wise was done really cool.
Sure.
There were some cool moments and stuff like that. Storytelling wise, it was just like blowing out someone's ass.
Yeah.
Like, it was just here's an entire series worth of stuff that could happen. Let's shove it into 3 hours of everybody talking really fast and quickly about something that we're just supposed to agree on.
Yep.
And by the way, that's a huge. Okay, here's another huge spoiler if you want to mute on this. But by the way, so it kind of ends with her killing the bad guy, right? But kills him before he even meets the protagonist, which means they would never, you know what I mean? Like, she changed history.
Isn't that just an infinite loop? Like, that moment that happens just creates this. Like, they'll always meet back there. That's
what I'm missing. I'm missing Doc Brown pulling up a chalkboard and showing me how this works.
Yeah.
Or the ancient one drawing a line and I needed someone to talk to me about how this works. Not some lady talking while you shot at a piece of stone for no reason, but I needed a chalkboard. I needed someone just to kind of go, all right, let's relax. Let's get you into knowing what's happening. Now we can go on with the story. But before I even realized, like, okay, I know stuff is going backwards, cool, but that's it. That's yeah. So
yep.
I was disappointed. I'm a fan of Chris Nolan's work, and you could definitely feel his style and stuff. I do like the style and all that. I loved what's the one that came out before it with the getting in somebody's head at different levels. Starts with an I.
Oh yeah. With that guy, I can't think of his name anymore either.
Oh, we are informative video cast here, aren't we?
Oh God, yeah. Well, whatever.
It's whatever.
That one was way better.
Yeah. Way better.
So good that we can't come up with a name.
This is how we know we do have someone in comments. Somebody tell us what this show is. It's driving us crazy. You know what? Actually, I will pull this up.
We don't have Google with us.
Well, that's true.
I want to come up with it on my own, though. It's not as fun when you Google it.
I was going to actually pull up the post that we did on Facebook. Yeah, here we go. I hope I don't have like personal information on here or something.
It's Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh yeah, there you go. Leonardo DiCaprio. I used to not be a fan of his at all, and I think he's okay.
Oh, how do you not like him? I mean, what's anyway. He for grape? Like, he's just fantastic.
Anyway, we have this post on Facebook. I've been loving this, where someone starts with an A and they say a movie that starts with it that they like. And the next person puts in B, then C, then D, then E. And I know that it was in here. That's why it made me think of it. I put M for Masters of the Universe, and I guess Peter didn't like that. But anyway, I know somebody. So how many rounds of this can we get done is what I'm wondering. I think we're getting close to not being able to pick Q or Z's. Once that happens, Insidious, maybe it's. Do you remember what it is now? Did you look it up?
Insidious is one of the worst horror movies ever.
I never saw it.
Oh, you don't.
Inception. There you go.
Inception. There you go.
My brother had it on there. Yeah. So anyway, this is fun. If you like these kind of things, come join us. We are waiting for someone to do E right now. Dogma was done last, so it's in our Facebook group, which is in the descriptions here.
Has anyone done Encino Man?
Oh, don't put Encino Man on there.
If you could put Master of the Universe, someone could put Encino Man.
I hate Pauly Shore.
I'm not a fan either, but still.
I mean, it did have Brandon Fraser, but it was tainted by Pauly Shore. All right. Well, besides that, here's a positive note. I started watching The Nevers. I think I mentioned it like the first episode last time.
Yeah, you
seen
did.
The second episode. I haven't seen the third one yet.
Okay.
But it's really good. I'm really enjoying it so far. It's interesting. Good character development. HBO Max.
Cool.
Have you been watching Invincible?
No.
Oh, you gotta watch Invincible. You'll love it.
I'll never finish Clone Wars.
Yeah, I know. You gotta just stop working.
Sure.
Stop doing things.
Sure.
You just watch nothing but TV.
Right. No board games, no nothing.
Yeah. Invincible's amazing though. So
I've heard very good things about it.
Yeah. Anything new you've watched recently?
Clone Wars.
It's
all new.
And is 6 the final season, or does it go to 7?
7.
Yeah. Okay. Oof. 7 season is probably. I can't say what's my favorite season, but it's a great. Disney Plus did a great job finishing it off.
Cool. Yeah, I love it. I think there are a couple of low points we kind of touched on them last time, but
disagree.
I don't want to get into it again.
Okay.
But yeah, there are times where I forget I'm watching an animated series. Like the cinematics, the camera angles. I know there's no cameras, but the way that they set things up is just
virtual cameras. Yeah.
Sure. And every now and then, like, Ahsoka will run down a hallway, or Anakin will like do a flip or something, and I'm like, oh yeah, animated. But like that whole scene with Anakin and Asajj on the balcony, and they were talking, and he's in the hood. Like, there are times where it looks like Frank Miller's Sin City, right? Yeah. Where it's like it's live action, but it's like done like around it is kind of cartoony. There are so many moments where, like, even when they're flying in space and like the buzz droids are on the ship, it looks like Anakin and Obi from episode 2. Like, it doesn't even look like it's drawn. It's amazing.
Even more than the animation and CG, though, it's the writing gets so much deeper into some significant stuff that doesn't even get touched in the movies because you don't have time.
Questioning the Jedi Order, like Anakin's turn, like everything. We see a little bit of Palpatine's manipulation of Anakin in the movies, right? That's how we know him to be turned. But all the stuff he's going through in these shows are just, they're gold.
Yeah. It makes you appreciate the movies even more.
Sure.
Because it adds so much more backstory and detail to things that make more sense. Not that it didn't make sense or anything like that, but it just validates it so much more, right?
Yeah, because then when you go back and you watch the movie and they make a comment, you're like, oh, yeah. Like, I want to go back when I'm done with all of this, and I got to watch Rebels also. I want to go back and watch Rogue One and pick up on some of the things that Saw says, because that's the first time I met Saw. But now, like, there's this whole history of Saw that was like, oh, wow. Like, I wonder what they used in that movie that came from Dave's.
What you need to do is have like after you watch Clone Wars, watch Episode 3, then watch Rebels, then watch Rogue One.
Okay.
And what's cool? Trying to think. No, it's not. You've seen Rogue One, so I'm not spoiling Rogue One for you. But there is a moment. No, there's two moments actually where they refer to Rebels in Rogue One.
That's cool.
It's just kind of little back stuff that you wouldn't recognize until you watch Rebels. So,
okay, cool.
And I'll let you know what those are after you watch Rebels, or even after you see like the first. Well, yeah, there's a little bit of spoiler for something. So, yeah, best to watch the whole Rebels first before I tell you what those are.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe we can get this done. What are we at? 2.5 hours? Get it done before 3 hours. That's good for us.
Yeah, it is. Well, that's good because my computer right now is at 14%, and like I said, it's not charged in. So, unless I switch, I always have the backup computers plugged in. So, if we do want to go 4 hours, I just got to change cameras. But
all right. Well, let's go ahead and end it here. Let me remind everybody to like and subscribe. Everybody who probably is no longer watching because it's been 2.5 hours of us babbling on. But like and subscribe if you have hung out. And next week, do we even know what we're doing next week? We haven't planned next week, have we?
No. Yeah. But I think the week after. Oh no. No, I'll talk to you about that. I'll talk to you about that later.
All right. Well, we do go to our Discord channel afterwards. We pop into the Batcave area if you guys want to join us and talk to us. And we just carry on like this forever because we can never shut up. So,
and for those that are watching this, obviously this was pre-recorded. Future us are not going to the Batcave right now, but join us on the Discord because we're there throughout the day. And we like distractions from the stuff that we have to do on a regular basis.
That's true. I always have Discord up. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for another great show, Mike.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I love it.
Great. All right. Thanks for watching.
See you next time.